Danfo offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, fam. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. We are live from Lagos, Nigeria. Had a great time at the Oshun Festival. It was always an awesome experience. And if you want to join us next year, visit danfo.africa. Oh, hold on. There we go. Bam. And guys, please excuse the music in the background. So the hotel I stay at when I'm in Lagos, Maison Fahrenheit, they like to party. Well, it's next door to a nightclub called the Library. And I don't know what kind of reading or studying be going on in the library at this library in Lagos on Victoria Island, but it stays jumping. And also, guys, I apologize for my absence. I was haven't been live in about a week. The last time I was live was last Friday. Yes, I think I went live again Saturday. So yeah, we're looking at about 6 days I haven't been live. Apologize about that. Just been busy and tied up in Osogbo, and also the connection in Osogbo, the Wi-Fi could be a little spotty. So yeah, but we good to go now here in Lagos. So guys, hit the like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for the support. A couple of announcements. We're rolling to Zanzibar in September. Again, we are rolling to Zanzibar in September. That's September 20th to the 29th. And then we're going to Kenya in September as well, September 30th through October 8th. Then we are rolling to Ghana and Ivory Coast in November, and then Sierra Leone November as well. And then the Voodoo Festival in Benin in January. Yeah, so those are the plans. That's what we're doing. This coming up year. Derek Cobb says, oh, also too, guys, got a couple more announcements. If you haven't already, please wait while your request is being, okay, that was weird. All right, if you haven't already, everyone who is watching this, please go and buy the documentary In Search of Uhuru. Again, please buy the documentary In Search of Uhuru. Go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com. Again, go to documentary.searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. I would greatly appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys' support for those from those who have already supported the documentary. I really appreciate your guys' support. It really means a lot. Shout out to Rob, shout out to everybody in the chat room. I really appreciate you guys. It really means a lot. And then also to make sure you visit Danfo.Africa. God dang, GoDaddy. Okay, maybe because I'm in maybe because I'm in Nigeria. I can't yeah, you can't go to the site because I'm in Nigeria. Maybe guys, give me a second. I gotta turn on my VPN. If I lose you guys for a second, um, it's because my VPN is on. Hold on, let me turn my VPN on. I'm thinking that might be the issue. All right, United States loading up, connecting the show. All right, there we go. We're back. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Bam. It was yeah. For some reason, I can't visit my Danfo site in Nigeria without a VPN. That's crazy. Okay, well here we go. So guys, please also go to Danfo.Africa. Come roll with us on one of the trips. Love to host you. Love to have a good time with you all on the continent. Without further ado, let's jump to today's topic. I was having this conversation with somebody some years back. I thought it'd be an interesting topic for tonight. And it could be because I grew up in Sacramento, California. Again, it could be because I grew up in Sacramento, California. But I don't remember. And guys, I'm reading the chat room. I understand that there's Nigerian, Black American, Haitian, Kenyan, Ghanaian, Jamaican, Cuban. I get all that. But growing up in Sacramento, if you were black, you were black. Again, growing up in Sacramento, if you were black, you were black. That's it. I just don't remember us uh being put in separating ourselves. I don't remember. Now it might have been different um in New York or other places, but in Sacramento, if you were black, you were black. Also, too, when I went to University of Georgia, for the most part, I mean, if you were black, you were black. So, like, when did we really start separating ourselves? And I know everybody's experience is different, but I just don't remember us being this divided. When I was in high school, we had the Black Student Union. All the black students, no matter where they came from, even a couple. I think we had like a maybe one white student, and I think they remember there was like a Samoan or Polynesian girl who was in it too. But we was all in the same Black Student Union. So I don't remember us being this divided here in America until that that scene in Sugar Hill. And even after Sugar Hill, I still don't remember us being that divided. Even after the African booty scratcher scene in Boys in the Hood, us Black Americans, FBA, we were calling each other African booty scratchers. So again, I just don't remember us being this divided. I went to school. I went to high school with Africans. I don't remember. I never got the "I know where I come from" treatment. And even and not saying I've never been told that, but it was so few in between that it was just ignored. You know. But yeah, I'll put the link in the chat room, guys. Make sure you go buy the documentary if you have not streamed the documentary already. Link is in the chat room once again. When you say Pan African is one side, it always has been. Have been. Can you let's in fact, that's another show. We could do that show tomorrow. We could do a show tomorrow on how is Pan Africanism really one sided? That's the show. Is Pan Africanism really one sided? Go ahead, Em.
Hold on. I gotta get my audio together.
Okay. Guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, you're more than welcome to call in. Again, links in the chat room. Okay, he fell off. But yeah, we'll do that show tomorrow. Is Pan Africanism really one sided? I keep hearing that, and there was an interesting discussion between Dave Anderson and Professor Lumumba dealing with that. And Professor Maluma makes some good points. For some reason, us Black Americans have centered Pan Africanism around us, which is not really the case. Go ahead, Em.
All right, thank you, sir. I just happened to open up YouTube. As far as the discussion, when did the division start? I would say for me, it was when I started to date this Liberian chick, and her friends and herself had a conversation about Oprah opening up a school, and Oprah's comments saying that the reason she chose South Africa for the school was because black children only care about iPhones and Jordans and whatnot, and they
Who said
happen
that?
to agree.
Who said that? Who said that?
The Liberian ex and her friend from another African country, they both was agreement that black people don't value education because our dropout rate, we don't take advantage of the resources in America and whatnot. And then Africans, when they come here, they take advantage of all of the resources. And I was trying to explain to her all of the nuances that's in play, particularly like COINTELPRO, the sabotage. Like, it's not like there's no resistance against black Americans, especially since we actually had to come from slavery. So this society has an active resistance against us that they don't really have against Africans, and they don't really share our history, and they don't try to understand it. They see things through a type of tunnel vision in which they say this is it, and let me try to explain it. Like you got an equation, a simplified equation. This equals this, right? They don't look at all of the other calculus that's involved that equals this. In their minds, they say you next to white people. White people is God. You got the resources. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for your failure. And they don't even account for all of the successes that we have, all of the freedom fighters. The fact that Kwame Nkrumah, that led to African independence, actually was a student of black Americans. They don't account for nothing else. They just say, you in America. America is the promised land, the land of milk and honey. You next to God, the white man. There's no excuse. And they separated themselves from us. And at that time, I thought we was all like one big African people. And later on, I started to notice when I started to meet Africans, the distance that they have from us. Like we have the African Fest and the Caribbean Fest. It was two festivals, right? And the Black Americans always participated, thinking that we were all like with this big global African. And later on, the Black people started to pull back from those fests because of the actions of the Caribbeans, saying this is our festival. The African festival was financed by NBC, and we used to pay like hundreds of dollars just to get into the door. And then the Africans started to say, this is our festival. Then we started to notice all of these different festivals from all of these different ethnic groups from around the world started to have these festivals in this park called Washington Park. It's like next to Hyde Park. It's a really big park. So all of the people from the diaspora started to take advantage of this park, having their festivals, right? And then the only Black festival that happened is the Bud Billiken Parade, which happens during like the teenagers, the adolescents. They start school and they have this parade called the Bud Billiken Parade. But all of the other festivals in this park is like Africans, Caribbeans, and all of these Ghanaians and all of these other people, right? And they put their flags up and they let us know that they're different from us, you know. So that's what I think the division happened when we started to realize that it always been a division. Like I had no idea what the Liberian people did to the American Liberians. I started to research it. And they always saw the Americans as a different people. They call themselves native Liberians or indigenous Liberians, and they call us foreigners. Since the 1800s, and you know, we all know about the coup, the genocide that happened. And even the transatlantic slave trade, I've always been a person that never really believed it. Like, how can our people sell our own people like this? Until I started to meet Africans and the mean mugs and the hatred that they have towards us for no reason. And it makes perfect sense. I think a history that we don't really know about that's hidden. I'm not trying to, not talking about Tariq Nasheed Hidden History Museum, but there's a history that Africans know about us that they don't tell us. And it's like some ancient blood feud, some ancient war that they've been continuously waging that we forgot about. And we just now catching up.
All right, 30 seconds. I got 30 seconds. I got to pass the mic.
But that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
All right, go ahead, Dre.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So as far as like when we separated, I think since the beginning, because I think that, other Black groups of the diaspora have always identified themselves a specific way. It's just that when we do it, it's seen as divisive. It's seen as like, oh, we're trying to go against everybody else. I think that distinguishing yourself doesn't mean you have to be divisive. But I also want to bring out an example of how they're different from us. There was a story about Kofi Annan, right? He went inside of a barbershop, I think a white barbershop, and they said they don't cut N-words hair. Then he said, I'm not an N-word, I'm Ghanaian, and they proceeded to cut his hair. So we are not the same. We've never been the same. So he couldn't.
You say, well, hold on. You say I'm not. Okay, one more time. I missed the N-word part.
So Kofi Annan, he was like some type of Senator General of the UN.
I know he is. Yeah.
And he said when he went inside of a white barbershop. The people in the white barbershop that was cutting hair, they said, we don't cut N-words hair. And then he said, no, I'm not an N-word, I'm a Ghanaian. So then they proceeded to cut his hair because he's not one of us. So that's what I'm saying. That's how you could tell that we don't have the same.
Okay. When you say N-word, like the ER or Negro or
the ER. Yeah, the ER. I think he might have been in the South.
I mean, I mean, then.
But he gets to do that. We don't get to do that.
I'm not that either.
No, but what I'm saying is that he doesn't have the lineage. He easily was able to say that because he was not because he's not of the lineage. He can't. In other words, he's not going to deal with the same stereotype is what I'm saying. And you know that was the word that a lot of Black Americans dealt with at that time. So he was able to kind of squirm out of that. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I said that there is a difference between us and them, is that they get to dibble and dabble whenever they want to. So anytime somebody says a racial epithet of them, they can just say, no, I'm not one of those. I'm such and such and such and such. So even the stereotypes we have are different too. You know, when people think of Africans, they think, oh, they're more regal, they're more, and they also got negative stereotypes as well, but they mainly got positive stereotypes compared to us. They always depict us as being thugs, as being weed smokers, as being people who are just degenerate. But with them, people respect them a lot more. You know, even just with the accent, even their accents, people respect them more and they feel safer around them. You know, just based off of just certain things that, you know, you can even analyze within groups. So that's why I said, I'm not saying we should be divided. I'm just saying that we're different. And it doesn't mean that we have to necessarily just hate each other. But what I'm saying is that we can tell that there are clear differences in terms of how we're treated in society, even up to this point in 2026. You get what I'm saying? Like, I understand where you're coming from, Dynas, when you said that you're not one of the N words either. But you can't easily just say I'm just Ghanaian or I'm Liberian or I'm Nigerian. You can't easily say that because you're of the lineage, and they probably wouldn't have cut your hair. You get what I'm saying? I mean, it's just as far as like, you know, just the way that he was treated versus how you would have been treated. I think it was back in the 1960s, as a matter of fact, as to when he was getting his haircut, I think, at that barbershop. And there's many different other examples as well, in terms of how we're treated versus how they're treated. I think it was one time when it was a Haitian guy that got stopped by the cops, and they realized he had, I guess, maybe a French last name, and they realized that he wasn't one of us, and then they pretty much didn't treat him the same way they treated us. So it's a lot of different things you can kind of like break down in terms of the treatment, and in terms of how we're different, or in terms of um the things that we go through versus what they go through. And I'm not saying that, you know, that they don't go through certain things. I'm not saying that Africans and Caribbean people don't go through certain struggles or certain challenges in America, but I'm just saying that it's not to the same level. And I think the last time we had this conversation, people, I think like Elvis was saying, oh well, if they see a black man, you know, somewhere, then they're gonna target them too, or profile them. Yeah, on the surface they're gonna, you know, if they see a black man, they may target you, but that does not mean that you're necessarily going to, you know, just be treated the same exact way. I'll go ahead and pass the mic now.
All right, let me pass the mic to Kidola. Go ahead, Kidola. And you are correct. If that were to happen, I would have left immediately. So you do have a point.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Kofi just probably didn't. He didn't know I don't know. He got names, so he probably didn't know the context. So, but yeah, I would have left immediately. Go ahead.
Yeah. I will try to hit on two things. I think that might clear up. I hear the brother saying when they start dating Liberia. Brother, I don't know how old are you? You might be a pretty young man. You know, the virus starting already when we come across Black Americans in Germany. This is not United States now, but this is in Germany. You know, Nuremberg by precise. You see, when we meet the Black Americans there, they were soldiers, right? They got club in the bases. Some of the retired ones have club in the town. So when we want to say hi to them, we start feeling the way they look at us already. And sometimes they don't want to even shake us. I'm telling you now, it's our middle 90s. They went genuine and this hip hop music, let me clear my throat, those kind of hard beats music at that time. And we came from Africa, and we don't know too much about Black Americans, even ourselves. They don't, when they just hear our accent, they don't really want nothing to do with us. You know, but the white Americans, they were far more cool to us. They were more common, say, man, where you guys from, man? We said Nigeria, Africa. They said, man, they want to know much about you. Even when we met the bouncers at the gate, you know, they start looking at us at first one kind. Only that when the black American would like to come close to you is that when you see with a heavy whip. When we talk about Mercedes-Benz S600 at that time. Then they'll say, "Oh man, what you guys, man?" And they want to know much about you. But when you ain't running big, they're your side, man. Then these white chicks, they all talk about B1, B2. All of them were just white women in those clubs. I ain't lying, bro. I'm not talking about the black women now. I'm talking about the American boys, the one that retire from the soldiers that refuse back to come back home. Even the black American chicks, they look down on us like, man, who you guys are? They don't say hi to us. Where you from, man? We say Africa. But guess what? The Puerto Rican chicks and the white chicks, they're all rolling over us. They like us. They want to be with us. Then you hear say black America go back and tell those white chicks, but the German chicks and the white American chicks, that man, these ain't black American, man. These are African jungles, man. That makes son of a monkey. So the divide you see now, social media make it more bigger. Then let me hit about this so-called FBA of it. FBA set up to counter what was going on in Ghana. And it hit pretty hard to some people. And this is started by you people have worked up, colorism in your society also. The more lighter skin, because they don't have nowhere they fit in, they're the one that came out first and said, man, I ain't Africa. And one of them, the grandpa, Smokey Robinson. Then the light skin was the one pushing this thing. I'm not African. I'm not African. It seemed like the darker ones started falling up too. Then the war started. The one that live in the United States also have bad experience with some of black Americans. Those started telling us, man, we don't start saying things about us, but we have very bad experience with black Americans. They jump at us, sometimes they tease us, they call us all kind of names with man and everything. So we should the black Americans are far more vocal about they're not Africans or they don't like Africans. The Jamaicans are far more the ones who are heavily pretending that they like Africans. Let's just be clear about it. What the FBA is doing now, there's a group of Jamaicans also in the United States and in England trying to copyright what FBA is also doing now. Because it pay more now to bite Africans. And bro, Africans not going to fold their hand. And one thing this people don't know, what they're doing does not hang around the zone where they're staying. Africans are also not getting the message. So that's all, Dennis. Thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Go ahead, CD.
It was my go, wasn't it, Dan?
Hello?
No, it was already Kidola. Who? CD's next.
Yeah. Hi, it's Donis. You stay in Africa, right?
Yeah, I'm in Nigeria.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the whatever is going on is, I would say this is just hate. FBAs, I would not, classify FBA to be the entire group of African Americans. They just treat people that are full of hate, because I've seen African making progress and stepping up with the level of achievement in America. That's the history that they have, And this is not for only Africans, This is how they pay all these successful black that because they all being killed by FBA. Whether you talk about MLK, whether you talk about Malcolm X, whether you talk about Tupac or Biggie or Nancy Hustler, the guy from Uterine, the guy that they pay in a hood, the guy that open business. So they fought a hate, and I don't think no amount of peace will stop them with the hate. As long as they see other black men achieving, as long as the social level of other black people going up, they will always try to kill you, And that's why when you see successful black people, they run away from black neighborhood, it's because of that. And Snoop Dogg said it. He said it over the funeral of this Nipsey Hussler. That's how they killed him. This guy was a rapper, he grew pistol in the hood. And what they did, FBI, when they shot him, they killed him. So this is not African team. It's more of like once you see black success, they want to take you down. The good thing is they can't kill all African because the success level is up there. We're not many African in America, probably like 2-3 millions. But because of the see Africans standing up, the success level is so high. That's why all this hate is coming from. And I would tell all Africans to protect yourself. Don't never think that FBA will make peace with you. The only time they will make peace if they see you fall down. And then you always want to try to achieve in America. Nothing should stop you. The hatred is not going to stop. No amount of peace will make them stop. You will always take black success. The common example is someone like Diners. The whole DHA trying to bring someone you down because the business success that you having, connecting, good African American with African, they hate that. They just don't like success, right? And I will tell you this, they don't give you no job. They don't give no job to African. I never sit down with Black American club or be to have job interview. White folks, and they are the job creators, right? And we all live in a white man country. Whether you like it or not, America is a white man country, right? So your hate will not stop Africans and will not shoot any of us, and continue to hate. How many cities in America that have been run by Black men that not been run down? And when it cracks all these cities, they run into the hand of white men to bail them out. I never seen any city that's been run by Black men in America that have any such story. None. So, but yeah, I'll leave for now. But thank you, Donna. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to.
No problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Skywalker.
Okay, I would first of all, greetings to the panel. I would like to start off with just asking a rhetorical question, and somebody can just give me an answer to this. What does the word race mean? Can somebody tell me what they think? Yeah, the word race.
Race.
Race, yeah.
What does it mean?
I mean, a competition. I would consider that to be a competition.
Okay, thank you. No, that's what I want. That's the answer I wanted, right? Because the word race means competition. And thank you, brother. This is a panel of intellect, so you gave the right answer. But when I'm talking to an ordinary Black person, when I ask them what the word race is, they always tell me that it's got something to do with your skin color or skin tone. But usually when I ask somebody who is non-Black what the word race is, the first thing that they say is competition. And so I started to realize, well, hold on. Everybody seems to understand that the word race means competition, right? Except Black people, right? And I actually think it's more beneficial for Black people to think of themselves instead of members of a race, to think of yourselves as players of a race, players on the team, because that's exactly what you are. And we're the only race that walks around, or the only team, let's say that walks around constantly dividing ourselves up into all these other small teams, when all the other races seems to, understand and operate, for that matter, as one unit, right? But African Americans, and Black people in general. I'm not going to say African Americans, but black people in general. Not just because the FBA sect ain't no different than the Hutus and the Tutsis, or the Shantis and yada yada yada, or any type of tribalism, or any type of example that we can think of Black people who look exactly alike, who share the same history, social and political experience for the most part, right? Even though the different flavors of colonialism might differ, to different nuance examples, right? Like in apartheid, the colonial system they experienced there is slightly different from the segregation example of colonialism that Black Americans experienced amongst the majority of white people, where the apartheid was amongst a minority of white people. So we get that, right? We get we get the different wars and all the different experiences of black people, but all of those things that we've experienced are a result of our confrontation or our different collective experiences with colonialism. And what I find is that like one of the brothers got on here and said, yeah, like Kofi Annan walked into a bar and they said we don't serve niggas here, and he said I'm not a nigga, I'm a Ghanaian. And instead of him realizing that the white man saw him as any other black person, right? He instead said what the black man said that oh, I'm not a nigga, I'm a Ghanaian. Yeah, I would have said the same thing. And I'm not first of all, what is a nigga? I'm not a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Ghanaian. I'm gonna say
saying it, man.
You know what I mean?
You keep saying that N-word, man.
But I mean that's what he said. He said the N-word. Well, I was just quoting what he said. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, but instead you ought to look at that experience, my brother.
So guys, when it comes to the N-word, if it's in context, it's fine. So that was definitely context.
Okay.
But the guy who mentioned it in context said N-word. He didn't say the whole thing. He said N-word.
Okay, well, I mean, but like Donnie said, I was mentioning in the context. I wasn't using it in a derogatory manner, bro. But anyway, like I was saying, I mean, the word's gonna always be derogatory. Let me not say that. But I wasn't saying it. I wasn't aiming it at anybody or nothing like that. But okay, so going back to what I was saying, what the brother should have been viewing that whole experience of Kofi Annan and the owner of the bar. He should have been trying to view it from the perspective of the white person in his perspective, because the white person just saw him as a black dude, as an N-word, right? Whether or not he was from Africa or from America. So that actually means that you the same thing as the African. But instead, he chose to view it from from a nationalistic perspective, because that's why Kofi Annan was viewing himself. He identified himself with the nation he came from rather than just the ethnicity of being an African. But that doesn't mean that you a separate people. And you can't take the experiences. I mean, you're taking experiences and different things that happen to black people and using that as a way to delineate, because that's the only way you can delineate. I mean, you can't delineate physically because you look exactly like the African. You know what I mean? So the only way you're trying to find the only means of delineation that they're trying to seek from is the different experiences that you know what I'm saying, that they might have had from the African or the Caribbean might have had from us. Are we not the same? Because the white man did this to you and they did this to us. So, you know what I mean? Like I say, and that's how you know that all of this is a fabrication. Because the extent and the lengths that these people go to to try to find a difference, it's not even genuine at all. I mean, it's obvious that it's fabricated and it's designed, to support, just useless debates among black people, so they won't be, moving more towards unity like they ought to, or like they ought to be. So I'll land there.
All right, can I say something right quick?
Hold on. Let him say something. Then I'll pass it to you, Dre. Go ahead, Em.
All right, thank you. I want to address Kadola and CD. For Kadola, he say when they go to Europe and America and they meet white people, they get treated better. What I want to know is, do you apply your previous experience in colonialism to white people, what they did to your people in Africa, as far as like stripping you of your country's names and renaming you Ghanaian, Nigerian, robbing you? You don't apply none of that to them. You just get them a fresh slate and just see them as a whole different people. And then the Black Americans, we don't have that history. I mean, they could say we did that in Liberia. That's like a big rumor that we somehow enslaved the Liberians, but pretty much we don't have the same derogatory history in Africa, yet they come and project negativity on us. He say the Puerto Ricans and the white women treat them good, as if they have no history of white people in Africa. It's like that's the first time they met them. And what CD was saying was black people are hating on them. Now, if CD, you need to learn our history and our culture. To be called a hater is like the worst thing you could be called. Like that's like a baller blocker, a player hater. That's really a person that's jealous of a person that got money, stunting. You just sitting back broke and dusty, and you just jealous and just sabotaging. Like, I don't think it's that's a false equivalency to say that you just stunting and balling on us that hard that we sitting back dusty just hating on you, and as if we didn't really provide the opportunities for you to get this money and education. Like if we're the catalyst for you to get this education and this access in America, how can you possibly be ever above us for us to be sitting back jealous? And you say there's no cities in America that black people run. Chicago, what, the second biggest city ran by black people. Cook County, the biggest county I think in America, is ran by black people. You talking about there's no cities that
over there? How many people die in a day over there?
Chicago is a million times better than anything in Africa. But I would say
how many people die over there?
How many people die in Africa?
I can tell you.
You should be ashamed of yourself to even make.
But regardless of that, Chicago's ran by black people. But I would say this though: there's many cities.
How many people get killed?
Hold on. There's many cities that your precious white people destroyed. Listen, you say there's no cities that we was able to do. There was many cities in America, the what they call it, the Red Summers, Tulsa, Rosewood, that we literally built from the ground up. That your precious white people destroyed. You say they built it. Hold on. Why can I make my statement, man? You can talk about
all the black city that I know about, liberal black people. You're the city that you guys have run in this country.
Listen, there was segregation. Hold on, why this dude interrupting me? Why is he interrupting me? There was Jim Crow segregation. You talking about Detroit, Chicago, Gary, cities that is part of the United States of America. We built cities separate from that your precious white people didn't bail out. You say they bail us out. They burnt our cities to the ground. In Lake Lanier is a city that they flooded in Georgia. In Georgia, they put a dam up and flooded the whole city. Like there's many cities.
He's talking about Lake Lanier.
Right, it's a lake that it's a cursed lake right now, in which when the white people go there, they be dying. But that lake is built on top of a black city that they literally flooded. There's many cities that we built that the white people didn't bail out, like you claim.
You can't just say something like that in a vacuum. Mention one city that is being. How many cities in America that I want to know the success story of one city that has been run by liberal black people.
New York was ran by Eric Adams, and he fixed the economy. Now it's ran by some Arab.
Oh my God, he was the worst mayor ever we had.
But he ran the city, though.
I disagree with that.
He ran the city.
He ran the city. Many cities in America that's ran by black people that's relatively successful.
I would say this too. Andre Dickens is doing a good job here in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta. Andre Dickens is doing a pretty good job in Atlanta.
Yeah, but for the fact that Daniels, we can even count it and say one or two, that's a shame, right? He's talking about Eric Adams, a man who was in NYPD.
Compton, city. I'm talking city. Compton's no longer a black city, so.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying.
Now, as far as CD, his blanket hatred. Hold on, CD, how you think? I'm just based on my observation. How you think?
Right.
You have like it's like in programming, what they call it, a boolean. It's either true or false. There's no room for nuance. There's no room for like different calculus or equations. You look like white people is all good, black people all bad. You don't look at none of the instances in which white people did damage to blacks in America and Africans. Y'all don't account for any of that. They just all good. And we just all bad. We did no good at all. We did nothing good in Liberia. We didn't build any type of infrastructure, trains and schools for your people. We did nothing good for you. We just all bad.
Where was that? Where?
In your country, Liberia.
They were not even carrying American identity. That's
Dinus had two guests on this show about Liberian history. And both guests said that Black Americans built schools and infrastructure in Liberia for natives.
But that's what I'm saying, that these people were completely different from you guys. You don't think the same. They were completely different. They were not even carrying American identity. They were carrying Liberian passport.
They don't want to give us any credit for anything, but I'm done, though.
All right, let me pass the mic to Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
Oh, okay. So I got another example in terms of how we're not the same. So even in the media, right? The first Black Panther movie, T'Challa was basically, he was Black American in terms of his lineage, but he played an African. Killmonger was a representative of the Black American. They painted Killmonger as the villain, and they painted T'Challa as the hero, or painted him as being more, more on the side of, basically a more positive stereotype in terms of even just the whole scope of being, a part of a superhero type of dynamic. So that lets me know right there that like they always are going to paint Black Americans as the villain in these movies as well as TV shows. I mean, even if you talk about Nollywood versus Black American TV shows and movies in general, usually they show us with dysfunction, and they usually show them with being more family oriented, with being, more tight knit. So that also too within itself can tell you that we're not the same. We might have the same skin color, but we don't have the same, like I said, experiences with, the things that we've dealt with in terms of that type of thing. But I'll go ahead and pass the mic.
Yeah, but I think the reason for that is when Terry Perry made a movie depicting or showing black old African American lady running around in the ghetto, hitting everybody, smoking weed, and you guys go and buy the movie. That's how he became a billionaire. So you cannot blame the white folks for that. Whatever they sell is that what is what they will produce, right? First of all, before they do produce a movie, they got to look at the marketing aspect of it, right? They know the FBI is going to buy a movie like that. Big Mama running around hitting everybody, running people with car, running people over with car. Yeah, they know they're going to sell it to you guys, right? But if
that's
they
not
make
all of us.
Wakanda,
All of us don't buy those
but
movies.
not everybody. That's what I said. FBI is, right? So it's a self-destructive movie, right? If you picture black people to be all black, Daniel, your grandmother running around hitting everybody in the ghetto. Have you ever lived in a ghetto? No. But they know that movie going to sell, right? They look at the marketing aspect of it, and then we'll sell it to you guys. And now you bring a white man for that?
CD,
Come on,
and
now.
that's representative of how we're treated.
Do you know the difference between a drama, satire, tragedies? You can say the same thing about Hamlet or the Odyssey or the Iliad by Homer. Like they wrote about the gods killing and eating each other. Like this is like literature. This is
but that is
entertainment.
They're making money out of
comedy.
it. They're making money, right?
But they've been writing tragedies for thousands of years, like we're talking about.
Nigerian movie is more family oriented, right? I can relate
They
myself
got
to
voodoo
Nigerian
movies.
movie.
I saw some of them Nollywood movies.
I can still relate myself to the movie, right? But if I went to Big Mama movie theater, the first place I watched it was Michael Johnson Theater. They were all black people. People were excited. People were jumping all around, but I was falling asleep.
But that's
because
comedy.
I can't
That's
imagine
different.
my grandmother running around hitting people, and that movie will sell, right? There's a market for everything, right?
Why you ever saw the movie called The Departed when everybody at the end died?
You guys should go
you ever
and
saw
see
the
some
movie
movie
called
that this type of movie
You ever saw
is showing that
Goodfellas?
this is what we do.
But I was
have you ever saw The Godfather at the end when Michael Corleone and whacked everybody? Like this is we're not the only people that make this. This is literature. It was what's his name? Mario Puzo wrote a book called The Godfather, and they made it into a movie. But the movie depicts violence, debauchery. This is just entertainment.
Right, but
this is not reality.
Why FBA should claim to Wakanda? Wakanda is pure African movie. Yeah, all African American.
Wakanda is in Illinois.
I got another example. It's funny that you mentioned that too. I got another example. Even coming to America, like the way that they depicted the African royal family was in a very positive way. So that's what I'm saying. You said it's a market for everything. You're right. But at the same time, you see how Africans get depicted in very positive ways, even if it's in comedy, even if it's in action, even if it's in other different genres in terms of movies and TV shows. And we always get depicted as everything negative, everything that's just something that's wrong with society. Like we're just the scum of the earth, even though it's a lot of degenerate people in other groups too. But they always like to highlight Black Americans for being.
Hey, can I say, bro? But that does not. Hold on, CD. Hold on. You just spoke to me.
When they talk, a rap song is violent. There's just a market for it.
No, there's not. It's more than. It's more than it just being a market. It's more than it just being a market for it, CD. But I get what you're saying though. But it's deeper than it. Believe it or not, CD. There's a, like the black people in America, and to the other brother's point, how they might depict the African family more positive than they depict the African American family. The reason for that is because like the powers that be have an interest in undermining African Americans, like they always have had an interest in undermining African Americans more than they have an interest in undermining the black African, the African themselves, because they live amongst the African Americans. The African Americans are the ones who are in a more position, who have weapons and things of this nature, or who are in a position who could really, can do something substantive to really change the narrative. So, the imperial powers, intentionally, do these things for African Americans and paint them in this picture because, they have historically oppressed African Americans. Africans, on the other hand, are different because they come from a different place, and the white people just don't have a heightened interest in oppressing them in America the way that they have an interest in oppressing the African Americans. But that don't mean that they are any different. It just means that the strategy of oppressing them is different, and it's causing all type of confusion among us and got us treating each other different based off how other people treat us. And that's the problem.
But if you let us make a comparison in Hollywood. African and African Americans, who is more powerful in Hollywood?
In African,
I would say
in Hollywood,
the power dynamic is changing.
No, but I would say in Hollywood, no. See, I would say the African Americans they probably got a higher influence than Africans right now. And even though you got Nollywood in Nigeria, but I would say African Americans have a higher influence in Hollywood, and as a result of this, the powers that be, the imperial powers, use African Americans in the minstrel show to kind of undermine and kind of paint us in like negative ways and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? In order to hold on, brother. I'm about to land. So they, like they do this intentionally. It's propaganda, right? It's psychological warfare used through the media, right? It's a political engine that's doing this, right? But it's designed to produce the exact result that it's producing right now. Especially if you got black people on a panel arguing whether or not they're the same. So obviously, whatever these strategic and psychic attack that Amos Wilson refers to against the black mind is being extremely successful. That's why Africans and African Americans need to read Amos Wilson's book, The Psychology. Hold on, brother. The Psychology of Self-Hatred and Self-Defeatism. And I'll land right there.
Amos Wilson used the word African
but that's
mind.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If the African Americans are more powerful in Hollywood, why would they be sitting there and they relate African American to a bad movie and play a bad movie role? Right?
I don't agree.
Right?
I don't agree that
we're not making because that's why when you see sometimes the Europeans, they see certain role being played by black people in Hollywood, they will always relate you to that type of role that you play. Whether you see black men running around, stealing, or not playing any kind of major role. But why they can't change that right now? If you think Africans are making the change, why your guys?
I don't agree with that
positive image to African American.
Have you ever saw the movies by Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier in the 1970s?
Bill Cosby, he's in prison. Why would you even want to mention him right now?
He's not in prison.
Have you ever saw the Cosby Show?
One time in prison.
I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Donnie. So be enjoying your time in Nigeria, man.
Oh, it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, hello to the panel. I mean, the question that you asked is like, when did we start seeing black people as separate groups? I mean, I disagree with just the premise of it, Don. Is all black people are not the same people. Like people like to make this argument that Aborigines from Australia are black people. In my mind, I'm not sure they're black people. To me, for example. Of course, the dark-skinned Tamil Indians from southern India, they're dark-skinned, sometimes even darker than most regular Africans, but they have straight hair. They're not African people. So black people, when you say black people, perhaps you mean sub-Saharan, people who came from sub-Saharan.
Well, yeah, I mean, people of African descent. There we go.
Okay. Right. And I think, like I told you before, when this whole FBA thing started, and certain people are trying to disassociate themselves with Africans so that the negative stigma that's been propagated by FBA and their acolytes doesn't apply to them also. So they otherize the Africans because, if you say you're African, then that must mean, like the Africans on the continent, you're poor, you're backwards, you're undeveloped, you have all of the bad things that people associate with them, attached to you. So I think in order to get away from some of the the downsides of being African, people just try to disassociate themselves with Africans at all costs. So they bring up ridiculous theories about being native, or you know they've had a ethnogenesis and thereby they're no longer African. Their Africanness has been wiped away by some baptism of being in America, for 400 or 500 years. So for me, I just think this idea of people not claiming to be African, it's fine by me. I don't even mind it because if somebody said they're native, we all went to school. We have brains in our minds. I'm not telling you you're not. Just prove it to me, right? Like that's the question we've been asking. Prove that you are. It's easy to prove it. I'm an African person. I can tell you where I come from, what my family lineage is in Africa. That's my heritage. That's my lineage. You have to prove to me that this, being native, being here, is your lineage. Prove it to me. But like what CD was saying about the power dynamics in this country. Look, we've all worked with African Americans or been in the same group as African Americans, whether it was in school or in the workplace. Other groups of people see us to be the same. And that I think that's what the African Americans don't like. That they feel like they're in a higher social status than the Africans in America. And they don't want to be confused with the Africans that just came from Africa, or the continental Africans, because by doing that, you're bringing them down a peg or two on the social ladder. So they want to make sure they distinguish themselves, or put a distinction to themselves as being African American, not African. We've been here for a long time. That African guy that you think look like me, when you look at him, you think he's just like me. We're not the same, you know. And it's fine, which is it's okay because in America, I guess if you're African American, you get some special privilege over the Africans, when somebody look at an African and say, "Well, that's African. He's on the lower totem pole," but he's lower on the totem pole. And when he's an African American, he gets better perks. That's for me. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you can tell us, Don, is you're African American. I guess when you go into a restaurant, when they know that you're African American and this other guys are African, they give you a better table. They give you better service because, maybe you're on a higher social status than the African. So it pays to be,
Hey,
African American and not African.
yo, Elvis, I think that you might be conflating. I think that you might be conflating what a black person thinks, right? I mean, of course, we don't all think the same. What's in our head ain't all the same. But when it comes down to ethnicity and origin, I mean,
Hey, can I come back on? I can't hear anything.
it's quite obvious, right? So, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, of course, yeah, we're not all the same, right? You got some Africans who think this and some black people who think that. You got some black people who dress this way and some black people who dress this way. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we're the same race. Black people, people of African descent are the same race. They belong to the same people because they've been oppressed by the same people. They got the same history. Their ancestors come from the same place, and they generally pretty much look the same wherever you see them. Even though some of them that pretty much had their, I'm not talking about mulattoes. I'm talking about the average African American that you see. I'm not talking about biracial stocks. I'm talking about the average African American. When you see them, and if you see an African, you wouldn't know the difference between either one of them, especially if they dress the same, until one of them start talking, right? Especially if it's like a Nigerian, right? Now somebody from Sudan or something like
Now
that, yeah, you probably can tell the
you
difference.
interrupted me, but let me just ask you a question, right? While you're going,
Okay, go
so
ahead.
a lot of people would be, but let me just ask you. I know you're a bit more conscious. If somebody call you an African, would you, in all honesty, be honest with us? Well, you say no, I'm not an African, I'm an African American. Will you make that
Hell,
distinction?
hell no, Elvis. I would immediately say thank you. That's exactly what I am, an African. I'm an African American, which means that I'm proud of being both, but I'm more proud of the African part. But certainly, I'm certainly proud of the history of that the Africans in America have done. So, like, you know, I never negate my Africanness. Like, and me, the average, all the people I grew up around, they don't negate their Africanness either. It's just I don't know where these group of black people on the internet then came from. But you know, I'm from Tennessee, right? You know what I mean? So most of the black people I come across, they don't claim to be no Indians. The most of them know that they Africans, right? Now, you might got some that might make their claim, but that's because they done got, you know, brainwashed with this misinformation campaign, you know, on YouTube. But no, Elvis, to answer your question, no, I always claim to be African.
All right, you
Okay,
good,
now
man. I'll pass the
Dennis,
mic, Dennis. You can pass the mic. I'm
Dennis, can I go? Or somebody's there? I don't know.
No, I
Yeah,
gotta
can I?
pass the mic to Pharaoh. Go ahead, Pharaoh.
Yeah, peace. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was tuning in on conversation. Very interesting topic. Yeah, with all these divided groups, okay, now it proves that we are not convinced on what the truth is. Okay, because if we were convinced on what the truth is, then we will not be divided like this, you know. So someone is not convinced of what the truth is, and this division is definitely hurting us more than it's benefiting us. Now these now although they cannot prove it, but these groups, such as FBA, and the Hebrew Israelites, they actually they take this stuff to heart. Like they actually believe it. Like they really believe that this stuff is the truth, but it's all a big joke and a lie, you know. And like, and I don't see why all these titles are keeping us divided, because I mean, that to me they're all fake and made up anyway, and a lot of them ain't got nothing to do with us anyway. But yeah, a lot of these movements are not working. You know, they've been around for a long time, and they did more harm than good. And we definitely need something new that's going to unite us all. If anybody can pull that off, that'll be the greatest thing that someone ever did. You know, something new that's going to unite all black people, because there is power in numbers. Okay. Now, and although I am against the word Africa, I am for the continent, you know, and for the black people continent. But yeah,
somebody got to mute, man. Somebody got to mute.
Yeah. Someone's playing music. Yeah, and what I'm seeing and what I see going on is yeah, a lot of these Negroes, black people, they are so fake, you know. Like in Florida, like I'm in Florida now, and in Florida, these Negroes down here, they love and respect a pale skinned, straight haired Puerto Rican or Hispanic more than they do their own black Haitian or Caribbean brother. That's what I see. You can say whatever you want to say. That is what I see with black people in Florida. A lot of black people, and even in California, you know, they love the Mexicans, and they, you know, and they pretend, and these same Negroes, they pretend to be pro-black and be down for black, but they show so much disrespect to other black people. And yeah, and that's a problem, you know. Yeah, and I feel it's a shame, you know, that our black African brothers and sisters have to come down here and deal with this madness, you know. And we got to separate the real black people, the pro blacks, from the, you know, from the sellouts and the traitors.
Hey, Pharaoh, do you agree that Africans participate in that type of rhetoric?
Yes, I agree, but I met more Black Americans. I got more disrespect from Black Americans in FBA than I did Africans.
Hey,
I get along with Africans because I represent Africa. I wear the ankh on my neck. I wear the RBG flag on my neck. So I represent Africa, and therefore because of that, I get more respect from Africans. But I get more disrespect from these Black American coons and sellouts. Okay, who are FBA.
I mean, Hispanics do the same thing. Hispanics separate themselves.
Hold on, yo, Pharaoh. I want to, because I'm about to get off the panel. I just want to say one thing. You said if somebody could find a way to unite Black people, that'd probably be the greatest miracle that, you know what I'm saying, that we ever seen. And I would say that if we can't agree that you know, Black people is one group or whatever, you know, I feel like that one thing that we can agree on is that us as a people, wherever you find people who look like us, generally, that we should be the ones controlling our lives. We should be the ones determining what our destiny and what our future is. And if we can just agree on that, I think that'd be a start towards unity. But let me get up out of here, y'all. Y'all be safe.
Yeah, let me say something, bro.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Who was the people who decided to have an Afrocentric view of the world rather than a Eurocentric view of the world?
Yeah, it was Black Americans.
Bro,
Exactly.
Bro, that doesn't matter. We just have to understand. Let me just tell you this, bro. But I was sitting around the bush and everything. For us, me as an African man, that have been around everywhere. You see, what we're discussing about Black America or FBA, whatever you want to call them, is not really new to people like us that been to different places. I'll tell you this, man, that I was one Black American guy in the gym, you know. Then they come across, then out of the blue, we were cool. We had one from Nigeria. Out of the blue, we come across a Curacao girl, right? Then he was dating this Curacao girl. And this Curacao girl, you know, they like Africans. I'm talking Curacao girl that look like a Colombian now, mixture between Black and Colombian. You know, they are like that. You know, they speak Papimetu. So after a week, this guy came. You know, I think the guy lost himself, started talking bad about Africa. I was like looking at him, man, like, okay. You know, I didn't really talk to him like that because I have this kind of experience before. I just look at him, man. I just kind of shift myself away from him. And where he was gymming, there's a lot of Nigerians there. You know, I told him, man, I think the word I just said, man, be very careful here, bro. There's not, don't say some of this stuff with some of these guys, man, they will hit you pretty good. What I'm saying that is this, is sometimes the education. All these people grow up under some kind of white teachers who groom them to say Africans are suffering, we're all hungry, we don't have no food. So they just see all of Africans like that. But they never really show them that Africans drive Mercedes Benz, Africa drive Porsche, Africa drive all kind of cars, right? They just show them this kind of shit. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: no matter how we try to come together, right? We're not emotionally attached together. And that's why I tell African guys, be very careful how you date the Jamaicans, the Black Americans, and the so-called the Italians.
Let me say something about that real quick. Now, I disagree with you in the fact that as somebody that personally I like, I'm disappointed in you forever that you didn't marry a Black woman. That's the first thing, right? But that's besides the point. But let me make the second point. You know, we don't talk about this enough. And as a young kid growing up, when I was dating, one of the things that I see African American men doing, they're dirty Mac Africans. And what I mean by that is they will say, "Oh, you like that African dude?" You know, they make it seem like the fact that the guy is African should disqualify him from dating a quote unquote African American woman. They make the woman feel like she's dating somebody that's less than, you know, if she's into African guys. And the prime example, even though it came from a movie, but this is real life. You remember that dude Daryl from Coming from America, how he treated the Eddie Murphy character because he was from Africa? there are rare Black Americans who have those same stereotypes, especially when it comes to women. They dirty Mac the African. Oh, what do you guys? Do you guys live in trees? You know, do you guys even wear clothes in Africa? They do that shit. And
yeah, because they've been propagandized too. I agree with you.
right. So when it comes to dating, that's one of the things that I saw. And no offense, but for me, I was young then, but still, I think I did the right thing, and it's not a big deal. But I
Elvis, that's where the hit comes from.
Elvis, let me last 2 seconds, bro. Elvis, what I'm telling you, what you see, Elvis, what you just say right now, that was what we were seeing 1994, 1995, 1996. You know, that where they see white chicks hanging around us, right? They will come and they will look at the girl first. Later, when the girl take a little bit, maybe to go and buy a drink from the bar, they will tell the girl, "Oh, do you know that guy's an African jungle brother?" You know, I'm telling you the truth,
let me
bro.
say something real
You
quick.
know,
These
then
conversations are
hold on,
irrelevant.
bro. Let me lie. So we start saying this, right? But guess what? Because the way we don't just come in like that. Tiger, we wear expensive clothes.
Hey,
They were
regardless of your clothes and your Benz, that's irrelevant.
Elvis, they were wearing, these guys were wearing what called Paco jeans. Paco jeans at that time.
Real quick. Let me say something real quick.
You gotta have some low restraint. Let me finish.
Hey,
let me finish, bro. Don't cut me off, man.
This is about political science. This has nothing to do with materialism and
let me finish. It's not about material. It's not about. Hold on, bro. It's not about material thing. This is about real life, bro. You guys wear Paco jeans at that time. Paco jeans.
This topic is
we
political science.
We came in. Hold on, bro.
We came in. Black Americans and Africans.
We came in with the European jeans at that time called Levi's. We're on top of our game. So don't come and tell us. Then
the crux of the issue is that and this is in Europe. This wasn't even in America. This is
hold on. Let me say something. You just mentioned something about being dirty Mac. Like that's a relationship situation. But I will say this though, we are diametrically opposed as a people. Black Americans, I think, in the early 20th century, came to the realization that we had to have an Afrocentric education, a worldview, because everything else was Eurocentric. We learned about the white Greeks, they had the white Egyptians in the movies, so we had to have a black version of it to see ourselves in a higher esteem. And actually, it's actually the truth. W.E.B. Du Bois actually was the first one that came out talking about the black Greeks, the Minoans and the Mycenaeans and all of that type in Athens. It was him that came up with the Afrocentric view of the so-called Greeks. That's where all these fraternities come from. But I would say this, Africans have never came to that realization or that enlightenment stage. So they still have a Eurocentric perspective. Even when I listen to the people on this stage talking about when you with a white person or white America is a white country and a white man bailing you out, like they have a Eurocentric view of the world, and they don't even see themselves in that perspective because they're not even Euro, but they somehow do see themselves as Europeans, like black Europeans. But we can never really come together or coalesce as a people if we have two opposing ideologies.
That's a silly thing to say. Because
how is it silly when you have Marxism still today against capitalism?
You ask for time.
No, guys, we got a new panelist. Go ahead, Freeway Dread.
What's going on, Dennis?
Peace.
To answer your question, well, you said when did the separation start? All right. Well, I was born in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby. Growing up, I thought all of us was the same thing. All of us. I thought everybody was the same thing. That was the Afrocentric worldview that Black America did adapt or built, you can even say. It came to a point where, as the years went by, when other people come in, I'm talking about other people from the Black world, when I start coming in, they don't have the same mindset or mind frame, and they do not try to adapt the same mindset or the same mind frame. And you see, eventually the ideology is going to clash, or the way people move is going to clash. That's really what's been happening. So when you see, let's say people from the continent, they move a certain way, people from the Caribbean move a certain way, people in Black America move a certain way. However, when I hate to say this quote, but you know they say when you in Rome, do as the Romans do. I hate that, but when you in Black America, you kind of got to move like how the Black Americans move. If you choose not to, that's cool. But it's still a lot of times we got to take a lot of things on a case by case basis. But a lot of times you have to go with a cultural basis too. At the same time, even though you thousands of miles away from your culture, are you with these black people? These black people, they used to move. I'm talking about Black Americans. They move a certain way. Whether you some stuff you like, some stuff you don't like, you move with it. But over the years, you start to see more and more separation. That's how I'm just speaking on my experience. Over the years, every like 4-5 years, you see more and more separation, more and more side comments, and I don't hide it. My dad is Jamaican, my mom is Black American. So I'm in that space where I see and hear what the other people say from the other side. I hear what they say, people from the Caribbean, people from the continent. I hear what they say. They have said a whole bunch of slick remarks. It's been a lot of things said on this panel that I do want to address. However, I just wanted to, give my piece, and then I'll fall back and jump back in whenever I hear something else.
Let me respond to you quickly, right? 1 second, please. So, Dre, what you just said is a great.
So this is Elvis, right? I'm just asking.
This is Elvis. So,
okay.
One of the things that I realized, like what you said, when I first came to the United States, right? Like you said, we try to blend in, right? So what we do, we wear the same clothes. Eventually, we start to drop our accent. We start to speak similar to African Americans. We start to hang out together, go to the same parties. And then this whole thing came in where they start calling us cosplayers, right? Where we're trying to be like you because we dress like you. We're trying to act like an African Americans because we talk like you. But these are the same people who will say we don't try to assimilate when we come into this country. We keep separate, but when we try to be like you and assimilate and ingratiate ourselves with you socially, we're called cosplayers. We're cosplaying. We're trying to be like you. And that's an insult, because if you go to Africa and diners wear a dashiki, or he wears, Ankara suit or whatever, those little things that the Yoruba wear, the trousers and the suits or whatever, or he wears a jalabia, you think that the Hausa or the Yoruba will say, "Oh, you're trying to be like us. You're dressing like us. You got our fila on. You're trying to be." We Africans don't do that. They look at you. They say, "Oh, wow, brother, you look good. You're part of us." They always say you're part of us. But on the contrary, African Americans will tell the Africans, "You try to be like us. You know, African American, they dress like us." We've heard that on this panel before. They dress like us. They wear our clothes. They try to talk like us. As if that's a bad thing if we try to integrate with the people that we are amongst.
That's not true integration.
No problem.
That's just imitation.
Oh, so that's not true. Okay, that's an imitation.
Let me respond back to Elvis. So now what I would say is it's more to it than just dressing and putting on the wardrobe or putting on the style of clothes. It's more to it than that. It's basically how you moving. I'm talking about how you view society. Now granted, you can't come in America and me expect for you to think exactly how I think. That's really, nobody can do that. But however, it's more to it than the dress code. So it's like you got to come in, or when you do come in and we tell you, let's just say, for example, about how society goes. Let's say other cultures, let's say the European culture or white culture or whatever. You guys don't view it the same way. And what you're speaking on right now, you're speaking on what it has come to. I'm speaking on the development of the separation. But growing up, at one point in time, everybody was the same thing, black. And at one point in time, Black America, we hoisted Africa for the longest of time. And at the same time, it's like you still get the slick remarks, you still get the slick comments at the same. So it's like you dressing like me, but you still got this slick stuff to say about me.
Right.
Like
to respond to that quickly.
I'm speaking
to respond to that quickly, right? 1 second, please. To respond to that quickly, when most African Americans go to Africa, you know what they have? They have a handler. I know Diane is maybe not now because he's more, acclimated, but they have a handler. They have an African who tells them how to move, where to go, if they want to get things done, how to get it done. In America, when we come as Africans, there's no African American organization that come to us and say, "Oh, brother, welcome to America. This is our organization. This is, and kind of give us the lay of the land." when we came to this country, my father, the first interaction my father had, this is the white people that did this. The white police
There you go.
officers, I'm telling you it because that's what happened. It wasn't one black organization that came and ingratiated themselves with the Africans. We live in Minnesota, right? It's the largest population of Liberians in the United States. It's a lot of Africans in this community that we lived in. The police came.
Who built
Hold
the infrastructure
on, bro. Let me just make a point. It's not the point that I'm making.
The city that you went to was built by
oh my
Black
God.
Americans.
Hold on, bro. Let me make a point. The point is to the brother that was speaking. You have to have organization that will reach out to the immigrants when they come in. If you want to get them on your side ideologically, you have to go in there and engage them. The police officers came and had a whole class about how to move in terms of driving, in terms of making sure you have the right, papers, and making sure that the immigrants understand the law of the land so that they don't get themselves in trouble. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So they try to, teach African immigrants how to move when it comes to the law. There were no black organization.
We don't need that because
show me a black organization that engage with Africans when they come into this country. Any state.
When you come to Black American communities, there's nobody out here trying to exploit, rob, and destroy you.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who will welcome you and tell you what their ideology is.
When you cosplay, you get to apply for resources because they think you one of us.
I never had any kind of good experience with any Black Americans since I've been in America. I have not had any kind of bad experience with white person.
So why are you still here?
Right? Because it's a white man country. I never had any bad experience.
Because they're Eurocentric mindset. Your mindset is the problem.
Is, when I'm talking to my kid, I would tell them, be careful, everybody. You're not a Black from here. Your name is different, even though you were born here. But you got to be up to that ladder for people to consider you.
So you teach your children that they're not Black.
I'm not calling myself an American. Even though
you tell us we're not Black. But you just made the thing that we're trying to cosplay you and try to be like
you. I will always advise my kid not to Oreo with Black kid.
We used to call that an Oreo cookie. You Black on the outside and you white on the inside.
That hanging out with FBA. Most of them got deported. Because they were friends with guys in Harlem, and they were interacting with them. They wanted to advise their kid to be careful with FBA kid. They are here right now. They're doing well. And I give that advice to my kid all the time. I'm not going to tell them, if he met a Black kid, a Black American kid in college,
your tunnel vision is the problem. If it wasn't for the civil rights movement, no African will be an American doing good.
I just made a point. You haven't rebuffed that point.
You will not be doing good if
when Africans go to Africa, they have handlers that help them show them the lay of the land. Africans don't make that engagement. African Americans don't make that engagement with us here.
When y'all call us a hater, you can never separate your success from Black Americans because you will not have any success at all if it wasn't for our struggle.
We hear you, bro. Let the other brother speak.
Nothing to the infrastructure or the society.
Let's talk about
that's cool. That's cool.
You're benefiting by having Black skin.
Okay, guys. Let me read the super chat. FBA online. Thank you for 499. Holla. Black Americans have to fight against white supremacy. Africans, Mexicans, and some Caribbeans that stand against our interests. Shout out to FBA online, y'all.
Okay, Elvis, I do want to respond back to you, Elvis.
You got to be quiet for a second, man. Let the other man speak.
Hold on. I do want to respond back to you. You say Minnesota got the biggest population of Liberians. What I would say is I'm from Florida. I live in Florida even to this day. I know some Liberians who moved to Florida, the whites. I don't know if you're familiar with the name Jomo Whites. I don't really want to call their first name. It was like 4 or 5 of them. I know them. They know me. When they first got here, I was a quote unquote handler. What I'm saying to that, or what I'm saying that to say is, you may not find an organization that may do it because you don't know where to find them first. That's first. And the second is, what happened to if white, and I hate to use them for an example, if white boys and white girls, like the ones who be cool with Black people, if they can find people who can culture them up or bring them up to speed on the Black world or the Black life, so that way they can quote unquote go to cosplaying. The same thing is available for them, because what I say is with the Jomo Whites, I did the same thing. I taught them boys the ropes. I mentioned Thomas because he passed away, so I could mention him. Thomas Jomo White, and I hate to put his whole name out there like that. But at the same time, we was they quote unquote homeboys and they handlers that was bringing them up to speed throughout the years. But guess what happened? They still went and did their own thing. They still were going to jail. They still was doing whatever it was they wanted to do. They still was doing it. So what I'm saying is, yeah, there may not be an organization that you could find, but there are plenty of organizations that's out there that you could have linked in with, tapped in with. You got to tap in with. At first, it start with tapping in with a person, what you call was a handler. You got to tap in with a person, and that person's gonna tap you in with their network, and then it goes so on. Well, it snowballs from there. You go to meet from 1 guy to 10 guys to 20 guys, or guys and girls. But what I'm saying is, it is 1 guy, and then he put you onto a network, or he bring you up to speed. What I'm saying is, from personal experience, bringing them up to speed, it only do so much because they're still gonna go out and do what they want to do. That was my response.
We don't owe them that. We don't owe them nothing. We don't owe them anything. Why we gotta show them anything?
There you go.
We don't owe you anything.
I get what you're saying. Nobody owe you. No. This is what I'm saying. Nobody owe anybody nothing.
So why you crying about us not? Why you crying about us not being a part of you then? If you don't owe us anything.
Okay. No, what I'm saying is, I know. What I'm saying is, the equivalent of what you said that does exist over here. It's me personal experience that was like that. I was like a handler for the white.
That like beer and girl didn't owe you anything. That's why she left your ass. So there you go.
Regardless of that.
No, not regardless. No, not regardless. She didn't owe you shit.
I have a question for you.
She didn't owe you nothing, bro. Shut up, man.
It's sad. It's sad. I don't want to.
Ow. Hold on, y'all. You try to be tough on the show, but you're sensitive, bro.
Let's show some decorum.
If y'all keep this, hold on. Let me say one thing. If y'all keep this mentality up, this Eurocentric mentality, what happened to the Haitians is going to happen to all of y'all. Because the white people don't want no imitation ass kissing Africans.
Imitation.
They don't like that.
The civil rights
they don't want you.
In 1960.
And
you calling for decorum. You ain't calling for decorum on that one.
We don't want no Eurocentric black.
We don't want no whiny cry baby who's crying and bitching every day about Africans, bro. We don't want none of those people either.
And we're going to ship you back to Africa, just like they're.
Oh man! All right, y'all. We gotta stop. Let me.
And you'll be here crying for land in Africa that you never get.
I gotta read these super chats. Come on, you ain't shipping nobody back. Let's see here. Focus World TV 1. Thank you for that. Holla. I don't know why you have him on the panel. He has no interest in unity organization. He's an anti-African. FBA Online, thank you for 499 holla. Black Americans have done more for Africa than Africans have done for us. I challenge you to debate me. Listen, I'm gonna do a show tomorrow. Has Pan-Africanism been one-sided? And we could have it'll be an interesting conversation. So FBA Online, if you want to call in tomorrow, I'll set it up. All right, go ahead.
Somebody mentioned Dinus being adopting a Yoruba culture, right? I'm pretty sure when Dinus go to Nigeria, he's not siding with the Europeans. I'm pretty sure he's not going over there undermining the Nigerians.
But without the
tell us how Africans undermine you.
Congress, right?
Articulate that point. How does African undermine you with the Europeans?
Every time you come on the show, you get some black talking about Gary.
So that's undermining. Do you know what the word undermine means?
Sabotage. You betraying us. You're a traitor. You sabotage.
So how are they betraying you?
You are betraying us.
How?
You're in league with our enemies, our historic enemies.
Show us examples. How?
Cadola over here bragging about being around white women in this Cadillac.
That's not a tangible action of sabotage.
One mic. Are you saying that FBA that they don't hang around white women?
Hang around white women.
You said
I'm talking about the people on this show. This show is about black people not being united and whatnot. Cordola kept mentioning his experiences with white people. CD keep mentioning his experience. He never had a good experience with black people. They just keep on. It's this common theme of these Africans always elevating Europeans. It's a white country. Black people ain't never did nothing. It's the rhetoric that they spew is Eurocentric.
I want to ask
It's just the
Elvis a
white
question.
woman is just one example.
We wanted to show us the examples of us undermining Black
Really, it's for
Americans.
the,
I mean,
really, it's for the, it's for the whole panel. But I just call Elvis because I've been the one going back and forth with him the most. This right so far. Elvis, I'm gonna ask you, for the most part, do you believe or think that you move in lockstep with Black America? By and large, I'm not talking about every single person. No, for the most part, do you think you move in lockstep with Black America?
In what regard?
In every regard.
Exactly.
Okay. So politically, I would say yes. You know, I'm a liberal. You know, and most Black people are Democrats. They tend to be liberal. So politically, we align on that. Socially,
Okay.
you know, I'm a identify as a Black person, married to a Black woman, have Black kids. I'm a Black person in America. I never did a white woman ever, never in this country. So socially,
Okay, now
I roll with
my
the
bad.
Blacks in this country.
Okay,
I don't know.
so my bad. I didn't know
Go
you.
ahead.
I thought you were done. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you
No,
were done. My
I
bad.
just want you to pinpoint it because maybe there's some areas where we differ and that would be fine. But I want to kind of pinpoint the different areas of life where I might align more with Black people, or maybe my ideas might be aligning with some other group. But everything
Right.
about me is go ahead.
So
But
my next question would be when it come down to, let's say, for example, moving back to Liberia or doing business back in Liberia. I don't know if you got business or not. What I'm saying is, being that you on this side of the world, what do you do for the other side of the world? Like I'm talking about where you come from, like specifically.
Yeah,
That's what I'm speaking on.
yeah. And again, I'm not even going to brag about it because most Liberians do this. Like CD's on this panel, he knows, you know. And for the most part, it's personal stuff, right? It's not like, I guess there's one thing that we do that's more
I'm not
like,
asking for like real details, just
right.
the general.
So my grandmother passed away, you know, a few years back. So our family together, we built a school for young girls that's dedicated in her honor. You know, we put money together. You know, we all dedicated, contributed, and there's a free school for young women, pretty much close to her hometown in Liberia. So that's something that our family does. You know, as something to give back, and then most of the money came from us here in the diaspora. Of course, my family members and other organizations that I personally give to and help. So it's a normal thing. I'm not going to brag about it because for me, I don't see it to be anything special or unique. Most Africans, they send money back home to their families. They help, little organization. They help sponsor kids, send them to school. Those are normal things that we all do back home.
Okay.
But
What's the equivalent of that you're doing in the States?
well, in the States, again, I can't really pinpoint it. Like to say, I donate to African American cause. I can't pinpoint that. Or to say that we're helping build. Well, I guess one thing, but again, it's different. It's not for African Americans.
I was just about to say, is it fair to say that it's nothing? I'm not coming at you. I'm asking, but is it fair to say nothing or not as much as you do for Liberia?
This guy
And that's
must
what I'm
be a
saying.
lawyer, man.
Yeah, 1 second. So, for example, here in Minnesota, right, I'm part of a church that built, I guess you can say, the only Liberian-owned church, the largest church in the United States. We pay like close to maybe 10 million after everything was done. As a community, it took us about 20 years to build that church, and it's built here in Minnesota in Brooklyn Park. It's called the Ebenezer, Community Church. So
Ebenezer.
Liberians, we contribute and we build a church here. And we have African Americans in there, we have Jamaicans, but it's mostly a Liberian-based, church. But again, like you said, most Africans, if there are organizations that we can donate to, should we be more philanthropic? For sure. But again, it's the same with most Black people. Most African Americans don't really donate to Black organizations either in this country. If you ask everybody sincerely on this panel, when was the last time they donated to any Black organization? Maybe Amy has donated. You can tell us what organization you donated to and how you did it. Maybe
we donated to the Africans when they came over here. I think
that's not what we're talking about, bro. We're talking about you donating to Black American organizations. What Black American organization did you guys donate to?
Elvis, I don't know why you answer to M. M is just looking for every opportunity to ask you. Hold on, M. Let me just tell the truth. You're looking for everything. You're asking him if you like Black women or why this, why that. What is it? What all this have to come? You can like anybody you want to like, as long as you're doing good for people. Your heart is
You're
clean.
over your cook.
You happy. You happy people. You happy whoever you want to help. Nobody ever race ever help. Or if you're white or if you're black. Let me tell you something. You people want to promote this kind of called B1 first or whatever. I was this thing first. I told you them, my guy. Your guys, black Americans, all running down in Germany, begging white women to buy them convert. You feel me? So don't
we
you know?
defeated the Nazis.
I believe in this kind of. I'm not believing this kind of this. Whatever you want, be nice, be nice. The best thing, be nice to people. Have people in your mind. Have sympathy. The way you treat yourself, treat the other ones like that.
Let me just ask a question to Dinus.
Americans was the primary people that rebuilt Europe.
You're giving opportunity.
During the Marshall
Let me give you a question.
Somebody asked a question for me. Go ahead.
So Donnie, this is Elvis. My question.
Let me ask, man.
No, why are you still? He's asking me a question. Some decorum. He's asking me a question. Go ahead.
And be honest, Donnie. When was the last time you donated to a black organization here in the United States?
That's a good question. Hold on, I'm trying to. So I donate to the Piney. Hold on. Okay. Recently?
Yeah, recently.
I'm trying to think. When's the last time I donated to an actual black organization? See, I do, Elvis. So, guys, I'll give you an example. I do smaller things in the community. Like, this is what I've been doing lately. All right. I'll go into Kroger. And I'll, in the Kroger I go into in Atlanta, the ladies that work the register are usually black. Now, this is not called a donation, but it's called, spreading, good energy. So I'll go into Kroger and I'll ask one of the ladies behind the register, where's the flower section? So they'll point me in the right direction. I'll go get some roses, bouquet of roses, and give it to them. And surprise them. You should see how their faces light up. I do little things like that. Like I give the people on the street. But as far as the organization, off the top of my head, a black one, I don't remember.
Thanks. Can I ask you a question?
No,
do you feel like hold on. Do you feel like, Diaspora, do you feel like you move in lockstep with Black America? Of course, not entirety, but you know what I'm saying, by and large.
No. As a collective, no, because I don't really agree with the policies of liberals and the Democratic Party, so I don't vote Democrat.
I'm thinking more
my focus is on Africa. The vast majority of Black Americans don't. It's not.
Right.
So I would say it's just being black in America, yeah. But as far as lockstep, probably not.
Right. Okay. Well, my next question. This is my next question. Do you feel like you are building a bridge? Like when I say a bridge, I'm talking about a bridge that you could drive over, not the rope bridge that you could walk across. Do you feel like you're building a big enough bridge or a big bridge between the states and the continent? And this ain't no dig at all.
For those who are serious, I mean, those who are interested, yeah. I mean, I'm building a bridge, absolutely.
Hey, Dynasty, let me ask you a question. Who financed the United Negro Improvement Association started by Marcus Garvey?
I'm not sure.
Universal Negro Improvement Association.
What group? The UNIA in the early 19-teens to the 1920s. Who financed that?
The Africans from Africa, because it was held in Africa.
Black Americans financed the UNIA.
Of course, fool, because it was in America. What do you mean the Africans should send money in the 1940s by envelopes?
Marcus, listen, Elvis, this is your history too. Liberia originally allocated millions of acres of rubber tree land to Garvey, and they reneged, I think, after Garvey got prosecuted for fraud. Liberian government, and they
who did it? Who was the president that did it?
But many people in many people in the UNIA still settled in Liberia.
That was one of the FBA presidents that did it. It wasn't a native president.
I'm talking about they allocated the land.
Don't say they. Say the president that did it. It was Charles D.B. King. It was Charles D.B. King. Hold on, listen. You don't know what you're talking about. Charles D.B. King.
Liberia is just a part of my question, but Marcus Garvey was financed by Black America. He raised
now you want to run away from it. Okay.
So
when you talk about black people betraying black people, it was an American Liberian that betrayed Marcus Garvey.
Who financed the NOI, the Nation of Islam?
I mean, you say these things as if the question should be obvious.
Black organizations
because they're in the United States of America and you're the majority. Who's going to finance it? The Africans from Africa?
Or the white people that you praise? The white people didn't finance it.
Who's talking about? Oh my God! Don't be silly, bro. Most black organizations are backed by white Jewish people. Stop the cap. The civil rights movement was financed heavily by white Jewish people.
It was A. Philip Randolph. It was this other black real estate guy. Okay. I can't mention his name right now, so I'm not going to talk about it. But it was a lot of black people that financed that too. It was donations.
A lot of white people also financed it.
It was more black people that financed it than white. No. There was no listen, Elvis. When Dr. King had the bus boycott in Alabama, what white Jews financed that?
But I'm talking about the vote for civil rights.
That led to the civil rights movement. What white Jews was the catalyst for that? The bus boycotts. All black people.
Yeah, ask a silly question. You know, there was a black man that had buses, you know, who had a bus company in Alabama. He wanted to come and bring buses in to bus the black people to Selma, and he was rejected because you know white people wanted to do it, and Dr. King allowed the white people to do it for him.
Operation Breadbasket. Who financed that? Dr. King's program when he went all over America.
Bro, everybody know that white people financed the civil rights movement. Donis himself will tell you. A lot of Jewish people were the financial backing behind Dr. King.
Hold on. The civil rights movement in large part was financed by white people and Jews.
Listen.
Especially New Yorkers. And only 5%, only 5 for black people voted for it at Congress. Majority was white. So without the white people,
when they had the Million Man March, when they had the march on Washington, when they had the march on Washington, how many white Jews gave hotels to these black people that went to the march?
Was the Million Man March a legitimate movement or was just a movement in time? That's something happened.
Hold on. You know who John Henry Clark is, right?
I know who he is.
Right. So his gripe with the Million Man March was that, you know, black people, 1 million, marched on Washington, and that money went right back into white corporations, i.e., example, the hotels.
But Washington is a majority black city at the time.
Yeah, but who owns the hotel?
Chocolate City.
You're just rambling now. Who owns the infrastructure and hotels in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I know this guy named it's a lot of black
God dang,
What I will say,
I'm talking, who owns the majority of the infrastructure, businesses,
you asking me a
hotels,
question that
hospitality? No, but it's a simple question. Who owns the majority of the hospitality?
Diners. You couldn't answer who financed the UNIA, so let me just not answer that question.
Okay, no problem. You ain't got to. You ain't got to. Right. But see, the thing is, I couldn't answer it, and you gave me the answer, right? So, who? So
you just gonna say white people, but you got to get the.
But that's what it is, and that's part of the reason why John Henry Clark had an issue with Louis Farrakhan, because he said we marched on Washington, and all that money, and all that money primarily went into white corporations' money.
I misspoke. I really was talking about the Civil Rights March on Washington, not the Million Man March. I just mentioned Million Man March.
Million Man March.
I mean, I misspoke.
You said Million Man March. How can you confuse the Million Man March with the March on Washington?
I was talking about the March on Washington with Dr. King, and Washington D.C. for the most part been a black city since. Except it was actually developed and built by black people.
Mostly populated by blacks, but the infrastructure is owned by whites.
Washington D.C. always been a majority black city.
Black city by population, not by ownership.
We do got ownership.
That's not, man. Donnie just explain it to him, man. I don't want to argue with him. The hotels are not owned by blacks.
We gotta move on. Seattle Sankofa. Go ahead, Seattle Sankofa. Seattle Sankofa, unmute yourself. Seattle Sankofa, unmute yourself. All right, go ahead.
What I will say about the civil rights movement, it did pick up steam. Once the ball was rolling, the other culture, the other people, they did come in with their money. Yes, they did, but they came in on something that was already moving, basically to get some control over it. Yes, it's true, but they wasn't the one. They didn't start it. They didn't get it going. They saw it rolling, and they added themselves to it. That's all I was trying to add to the civil rights piece.
But you see, they always, sound like white people didn't even play any major role. If you look at Congress, the vote that they had, there were no black senator at that time. But only 5 or 6 blacks that voted. The other rest were all white. Without the white people, there would be no civil right.
They added them. So they added themselves to it. They weren't invited.
But this guy don't even know because he's still student. He's still student. He's still in school. When you finish, you go to back down to a white man to give you a job. Your people didn't create no job, right?
I mean, city.
Right?
We created no jobs. This dude's talking crazy, man. We created no jobs.
Okay, let's ask the question respectfully for those who don't have their own business and work for a corporation. How many of you work for a black-owned corporation right now?
I do.
In the chat or on the panel?
Any of that. I've not had interview with black
people are so disingenuous right now.
No, we want to look at facts, bro. We want to look at the stats. Dinus, have you ever worked for a black corporation in your life or a black person?
I think he owns one.
Let me.
Don't you own one?
Let me. Well, right. I own my own business, but as far as working W-2 benefits, vacation, for a black corporation, no, they've been all white.
Okay. What about you, brother? The other brother that's on the panel, D. Have you ever worked for even a black small business, a black, corporation?
These people are disingenuous, man.
I have.
They're talking post-integration. Post-integration, of course, you're going to have less black businesses after we integrate.
So when the African said that, black people don't hire them, or black people, and again, it sounds like an insult, but it's just a reality. And most black Americans have probably never worked for a black corporation or a black business. That's just the reality of this country.
Elvis, it's a catch-22. Would you rather it being how it was before integration, when Africans was excluded from America? When all the black people had black
That's not the point we're making, bro. Why you keep going back to old days?
Do you want us to go back to what it was? When it was
the question should be, would I rather work for a black corporation than a white corporation? And the answer is, of course.
Have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
The answer is, of course.
Because when they integrated society with the Civil Rights Act, what that did was that got rid of Jim Crow segregation, which opened up the market to black people, which they was excluded from. And then we had the riots, the Detroit riots. You talked about Detroit the other day. The Detroit riots, when most of the black businesses got burnt down. We had the riots in Chicago after Dr. King got assassinated. Most of the black businesses got burnt down. How it got burnt down, who knows? But it was a lot of factors that play into why there's less black businesses and less black employees today than it was prior to the civil rights movement. But if you wanted to go back to the civil rights movement, we're going to have to get rid of the Nationality Reform Act, the Citizenship Nationality Reform, whatever you wanted the proper name for it, that allowed non-white people to mass immigrate. We will have to get rid of that too. And that means no Africans over here.
Is that the African's fault, brother? If an African come here and he doesn't know the history of the riots and he's looking for a job,
you're going to have to admit that you wouldn't be over here. If you wanted to be like it was.
So that's why I think somebody said it. What should we be doing, brother? Should we come to Chicago and do an African spiritual dance for you to thank you for allowing us to be here?
I mean, that's your own choice. But if you don't want to,
no, because I don't know what you want from us. You keep bringing it up like we should be internally grateful.
Our culture,
what do you want us to do?
Our culture, Black American culture, revolves around acknowledging and honoring those who paved the way for us. Be it to people that still living, that's probably locked up.
How should we honor you?
Political prisoners, people that that actually like
How should we honor you,
John Henry
M?
Clark. That should be a cultural
How should we honor you? Answer the question, bro.
Listen. We pour out libations. We have ceremonies. We acknowledge
So
them in
Africans should
discussion.
pour a libation for you to honor you?
I mean, our culture is our culture. Y'all claim we don't got culture, but we have a culture.
I'm asking you a question. You can't answer the question. How should we honor you for making Africans to come into this country?
The same way you honor your own ancestors. It's like the guy always mentioning, invoking the name Amos Wilson in his discussion. That's honoring Amos Wilson or John Henry Clark. That's a way of paying homage to the people that paved the way. That's what we do. We don't just do it to famous figures. We do it to our father, mother, people who worked hard to get us to where we are. But y'all seem to not have that aspect in y'all culture. When y'all get here, y'all just forget about
you crazy?
all the
Do you
people
know
that sacrificed, that led to your success. Y'all don't acknowledge it.
Africans acknowledge the people that led to their success. Their parents, their family, they acknowledge it.
That's not their heroes. They have their own heroes. They have their own heroes.
We are the heroes too. If you over in America benefiting, Black Americans should be part of that.
That's up to us to do, and we do it, don't we?
Your African people did not lead you in no.
All right, guys. Let me read this super chat. Baba Lico 9354. Thank you for $4. Holla. M is very delusional. Most Black people are employed by whites. Seattle Sankofa, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Peace, brothers. Peace. I saw the title, so I just jumped right in. I was curious. I sent you an email. I was wondering if you received the email that I sent you.
Who sent to who?
To your email.
What email you sent it to?
Some search your Huru, something of the nature.
At gmail.com. Hold on, let me but go ahead.
But anyway, to answer the question that you posed in the title, I would say that we started seeing ourselves separately or different once we realized we went through an ethnogenesis here in America. Us as Black Americans, we also have European DNA, and we also, some of us have Native American DNA. So we're not just continental Africans. It's not that simple for people in Africa or for people to just want us to say that we're Africans when we are that. Yes, predominantly, yes, we are that. But we also have European in us. We also have Native American in us. And some people even may have Asian in them, or whatever else they may have in their DNA from being in America for 500 years. We have people from every different ethnic group around the world that are in this country, and Black people have made babies with each and every single one of those ethnic groups. So just to say that Black Americans are simply continental Africans is overlooking who we are as African people in America. So we're not. It's just not a blanket to just. You can't just make a blanket statement and say, oh, just because you're predominantly African American or your ancestors came from Africa, that you all are continental Africans. We're not continental Africans. We don't speak African languages. Most of us don't know about African food. It's a lot of things that separate us from just being a continental African. My question is, why is it so hard to understand that and accept that? There's those differences. There's those nuances that separate us. Why is it so hard to accept that? That's my question.
My question to you is, what makes a person a Black person by race? Is it the quantity of the blood that is Black? Is it the culture? What makes a person Black in your eyes?
That's it. You got Obama phone.
All right, let me read the super chat. Him is very delusional. Most Black people have already read that. All right. Seattle, if you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute yourself and answer.
Maybe he's busy. But anybody else, the other brother D, you can answer that question too if you want to. I just want to understand your point of view. What makes a person Black? Is it based?
What was the question?
My question is, what makes a person Black? Is it by the percentage?
Somebody has an echo. Somebody has an echo.
Yeah, you got to mute up for a second. Is it based on the percentage of their blood that's Black? Is it based on the culture immersion of into Black community? What makes somebody Black in your eyes? I think he might have a delay. Maybe he's listening.
This guy got to have Obama phone, man.
Well, he might have a delay, maybe. But you can answer that, D, if you want to. I
First of
just
all,
want to
no, I
understand
do
something.
not have an Obama phone, so stop with the nonsense. I'm actually at work on a shipyard. That's why the reception goes in and out. And on top of that, for some reason, it mutes on this phone. I'm not able to hear everybody speaking for some reason. But to my opinion, what makes someone black in America is going to be their cultural experience. We have black people in America that maybe be 15 or 20% African DNA. Okay, let's say a person has a mom, she's half black and she's half white. And let's say that woman gets with a white man and creates a baby. To us, we still recognize that baby as being black, even though they're 75% European. To
And
us, in our eyes in America, that baby is still black. It's still going to come from the black experience. And that comes from the history of racism in this country. You continental Africans might not understand that. And you continental Africans may look at that baby and say, it's 75% European, so it's a white baby. But us black Americans know that that baby, even if it has 1% of black blood, is going to have the black American experience.
so if something is 75% of a substance and only 25% of another substance, the 25% of the substance is what you identify it by, right? If you have a jug of water, that's 75% pure water, and you put some, little coloring in there or whatever, now it's no longer water. It's 25% of whatever that you put in there. And that's why I asked the question. And you answered the question. You answered the question perfectly for me, brother, because like anybody would say, I want to get Dinah's take on that too, because if somebody is only 25%, no black person in this country see that they have 25% white DNA and go and classify themselves to be a white man or a white person.
That's
They
what
never,
Obama
they
phone
never do
does.
that.
FBA carry Obama phone and me by itself.
Yeah,
Stop,
so
man.
Dinah, what do you
Stop,
think? You
man.
think a person who's 25% black should be considered black?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's shocking to me.
Hold on. What was it? Did you say? Okay, hold on. Oh, whoa. Let back up. You said 25% black or 25% white? I think I misunderstood you.
A person who's only, like the brother was giving an example, that somebody has a mother who is, half white, half black, and a white father, making them 75% white. Do you think that person is a black person because they have 25% black DNA?
I would say I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. I would say per America, he would be considered black, but everywhere else he'd be considered colored or mixed. Me personally, he'll be white. Or I'm sorry, he'll just be colored or mixed. He'll be colored or mixed.
So that's why I wanted to understand, because when people say that they're proud of their other, blood or DNA that they have in them, the white DNA, the native DNA, like Dennis, you about what, 80%, 77% are black?
No. Hold on. Let me stop you right there. I am 86% black.
Okay, so there you go. You black. So this brother was making a case that somebody who's only 25% black is as black as you are, and they should be considered black. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm being colorist in the opposite direction, but for me, that's not a black person. That's a high yellow person with maybe curly hair. I'll pass the mic. I think somebody else wants to speak.
Babalico, go ahead, Babalico.
Elvis, Elvis, you make a great point, because we know on the plantation, once that slave master did sleep with that white woman, that slave master man sleep with that black woman, that child is black. He probably might be in the house, but he will be a house Negro. Okay, so we knows it. So all this nonsense this FBA saying is I don't know what to call it. It's a pack of crap. Okay, crap. What we got to do is back on the topic. When we start calling ourselves all these different things, well, the FBA say that they saying that they used to call themselves African, and the African told them that they are not African. That's what they're saying. Now, I don't know where part of the woods they live in, but I never heard that. I probably hear some Africans might say something different, like, oh, they're not really African, but some Africans, when they talk, it comes out like that, but they don't really mean it like that. I go, oh, you're not really African. But like, when I go back to Trinidad, they'll be, you're not really a Trinidadian, but they know I grew up there, right? But they say it. So I think they're taking it too personal, too personal, and that's what's going on. I'm on the road right now. I'm visiting.
Dennis, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, when you in Africa, do you receive more love in Africa compared to America?
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's the experience of almost, I would say, 90% of the African Americans, right? And when they go to Africa, they receive all love, right? But again, they believe that we Africans don't believe that they are Africans. I don't know where that came from.
But that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes when I'm frustrated with my own kid, when they do certain things, right? Which of course certain culture of African doesn't even make sense to me. When they give me food or I send them to pick up something for me, they give it to me with their left hand. And I'll say, these are just American kids, right?
No, my dad would slap my hand anytime I try to give anything with my left hand. I don't know where that come from. Where does that come from?
Right, but that whole meaning, these are just
so the term is left hand wipe, right hand eat.
Right, but that is the reality. These are just superstitious belief, right? That you don't jump over people's legs when you see other people sitting, just pass you around them. Otherwise, someone will die in your family. These are, I would say, superstitious belief.
I always used to think it was because you wipe with your left hand or something, or
right,
you do certain things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Left hand wipe, right hand eat.
Right, but you see that in every culture, even the Italians that were born here, when they go to Italy, they call them, you guys are Americans, right? So it doesn't mean that we are
that's what I'm saying.
Attacking African Americans.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're taking it out of proportion. Yeah,
right.
You're right. Yeah,
exactly.
Even my kids are born here, and I say, Yankee boy, come here. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean it anyway. That's my kids. But they are taking things personal. I don't know why they're taking things so personal.
Right. Oh, my kid calls somebody by his name, older person, instead of them calling their grandmother or some kind of respectful
uncle,
name.
you gotta call every older person uncle, whether they're related to your dad or not.
You say that they are disrespectful. Why will you call me by my name? Right? Your kid cannot call you by your name. And then they have to be very respectful somehow, or auntie or uncle.
Right.
You have to have that.
I think somebody wanted to say something in the back there. We couldn't hear him. Maybe it was a brother on the phone.
That's Obama phone again.
So, Sankofa, you want to come in?
I don't know why this guy keeps talking about Obama phone, bro. I got more phones in my possession. Like, you get out of here with that Obama phone, bro. I'm on an iPhone, on a brand new Samsung. Get out of here with that iPhone.
Don't get offended by it, bro. You got it. You got the floor. You go ahead.
Don't get offended by it, bro. You got the floor. You go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is simple. I just want to understand, why is it so hard to accept that Black Americans are not simply just continental Africans? Why is it so hard to accept that we also have European ancestors the same way that we have African ancestors? Some of us also have Native American ancestors the same way as we have African ancestors. So why is that so hard to accept that? Some of us have more European ancestry. Some of us have more African ancestry. So I just want to know from the continental Africans, why are you guys so hell-bent on us claiming the African continent, on us saying that we come from Africa when we haven't been in Africa for over hundreds of years? That's
why I asked you the question. What makes you quote unquote an African? Is it based on the percentage, the percentage of your blood that comes from Africa that identifies you with Africa, or is it based on your culture, acclimation to Black culture? And you said The blood doesn't matter because you can be as low as 25% and still be black in your estimation, which to me is crazy. But I just want to get your point of view, and you said it clearly. So for me, I disagree with that because I think to be black, I'm a simple person, right? You got to be more than 50% black to be considered black. You know, if you are half and half, you're mixed.
Hey, listen. Elvis, if it's a race war, right? No, if it's a race war breakout, you think the white man is going to look at you with a little bit of you black, looking black? You have some white in you and say, "Oh yeah, he's on our side." It's nonsense. Like these guys are. Listen, man. Majority of black, you got majority of black. You black. They're gonna consider you black. You black. Your mother black. Your white. Your father white or whatever. Mom white, father whatever. They're gonna consider you black.
If
That's
if was a fifth,
that's a
we'd all be
fact.
drunk. We're not talking about ifs. We're talking about the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is we're not continental Africans. We are black African Americans. We
Oh yeah, we know that.
do come from an African ethnicity. We do have African ancestors. We do have African lineages. But we're not just simply continental Africans. You guys got to get that through your thick ass skulls.
I'm in the Caribbean, right? And I never heard no Caribbean nonsense like that. You know why? Because they know they're African. You know what they say? Yeah, we Caribbean from African descent. Even though they live in the Caribbean for years and years and years. And just like America. Because the same ship brought you in America, the same ship brought you in the Caribbean. But guess what? You know what they say? They say they're African Caribbean. They don't say, oh, we live in the Caribbean for years, so we just Caribbean.
I just said
It's
that
nonsense.
we have African ancestors. I just said
it's
that we come from
nonsense.
African descent.
Y'all trying to separate yourself from something that can be separated.
We're not simply continental Africans. We are mixed people. You guys don't understand the word ethnogenesis. You don't understand the fact that we have been mixed.
Can you explain to us what ethnogenesis is, brother?
And also European DNA and also Native American DNA that separates us and makes us different. Do you not understand that we have forged our own culture here in America?
So what makes you different is that you have mixed blood. That's what makes you different.
Our own ways of doing things here in America. Why you don't understand?
I know you have a delay, bro. So maybe you didn't hear my question. I'm guessing you mean like what makes you different is that you have mixed blood. So the people in Africa who have mixed parentage, because there are Africans like Liberians who have Lebanese father or white fathers or mothers, they're different than the African that's on the continent, right? Because their blood is different, right? He has a delay, so it probably takes him a couple.
Yo, Elvis, you ever see those Jamaican Chinese that come to Jamaica and they say,
that Jamaican girl, Shantia, whatever her name is, the Indian Jamaican.
But they were born in Africa. They're continental Africans. Their whole experience has been on the landmass of Africa. Ours has been in America. We are culturally
So then it's not about the blood, it's about the experience then.
My nationality is American, buddy, not African.
So that's what I'm asking you. So
but I'm not
it's based on your experience and not the blood.
I don't even eat African food, brother. I don't eat African food. I do not. Okay, I don't speak no.
That don't mean nothing.
Language.
That don't mean nothing.
I don't really like the music. I prefer our American music. I don't like listening to that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd be ready to cut it off and turn it off.
Yeah, but we're talking about your blood, not your preference in music. It's a delay, so it's always going to be hard. You got to turn up the playback, man. It's your blood. If I'm 90% African, even though I've never been to Africa, but that's where my 90% of my DNA comes from. That's where I'm from, And you're talking about culturally, being acclimated to African culture. That's one thing. But the blood is different than the culture.
78% of my DNA is sub-Saharan African, and I accept that. I have no quarrels against that. I love that. I embrace that. But I'm not going to turn away the fact that I am a mixed person. All my family in America, we are mixed. I have European ancestors the same way that I have West African ancestors.
What percentage of your DNA is European?
Be in denial and be delusional and say, you know what? I'm just going to ignore the fact that I have 15 to 25% European ancestry. No, that would be being delusional.
Dinus had like 10% European or something like that. He don't classify himself as a mixed person.
So being mixed, so it's mixed of new race.
That are white slave masters, and we have some ancestors that are black Africans that sold us into slavery. can
What
accept
percentage of
that
their
some of
DNA
the
is
people,
European,
the
brother?
blacks that were in Africa that sold us into slavery, some of them were my great grandparents that sold us. I can accept that. The same way we have white slave masters that enslaved us in America, some of them are my grandparents. I can accept that. But you guys cannot accept that. That's the problem.
I'm trying to figure out what's considered mixed, because Donis could probably classify his, no disrespect, Donis could probably classify his black African as mixed because he has some admixture of white European DNA. So when do black people classify themselves as mixed or just black? Because every black person that call themselves black, they probably have some European DNA. It might be 5%, 10%. So you classify yourself as mixed if you have only 5 or 10% white DNA?
You classify yourself mixed the moment you do the work and you build a family tree. And once you do a family tree, you start to see that some of those individuals, your great grandparents, are Europeans. That's when you have to be honest with yourself. Also, the moment you submit a DNA test or maybe multiple, like I did, and you see you have European DNA and you see you have European blood DNA matches as your cousins, your second, third, and fourth cousins. Yes, this is a Black American experience, something you continental Africans don't know nothing about and don't know how to digest, and you do not want to accept it, and you just want Black Americans to claim their African ancestry, and it seems as such that you want us to deny our American experience. Why do you
No,
want us to deny our
nobody
experience?
want FBH to be African. That's the reality. And for you to even boast of you being American, anybody can become American. There are a
What is
lot of
MOE
Anybody can be
needing?
it's not a
African.
This
nationality
Anybody
guy
can
for
is
be
someone
proud of
to
his
African. You
white
have
boast of.
blood, man.
Chinese
He likes his
Africans,
white
you
blood.
have Indian
Yeah, it's not a
Africans, you have
nationality for someone
European
to boast
Africans.
of, right?
So stop it. You got white
So
people in Africa right now that are Africans. Stop it.
but that's what I'm
They
telling you.
say
Being
that, but they're not
American
really
is not
African.
it's not something that someone want to boast of because anybody can become American. Even if you have a couple of $1,000 or $1,000,000, you can buy American nationalities, right?
Oh,
So
they got a
why
gold
would
card.
you
They got a
why would
gold
you
card
even
now.
boast of that?
They got the gold card. Trump got the $5 million gold
Right.
card.
They're
Yeah.
So
selling
let
it
me ask
now.
you, brother, are you proud of your white blood as much as you're proud of your 75% black blood?
I guess not.
You still got Obama phone.
No, you just got a delay. I don't know what's causing the delay. Maybe he's listening to on a
When it
different
comes to
device.
culturally and nationality, we are not Africans. Our nationality is American. Our culture is a culture that we forged here in America. Okay,
That comes from
jazz,
Africa,
blues, hip
mostly.
hop, R&B, all these things that you guys like to
Most of those things
kind
have
of,
ties
Okay,
to
I
no,
don't
Africa,
know,
he's
you
brother.
right.
guys
Let me
like
let
to
me let me
steal
shut this
and
down. Let me
create
shut
your
this
own
down
little
real quick.
Afro beats and all of that.
Okay,
You guys are just stealing from Black American hip hop. You take
okay,
from
you're
our
right.
ideas, you take from the way we dress, and you try to
No,
incorporate
you
it.
are
And you
right.
guys
But
want us to be
you are
you guys
right.
so bad. But
What?
you have to accept that our African ancestors sold us into slavery, sent us to America. We got
Yes.
mixed over here with Europeans, Native Americans, and other
Yeah, that's
people,
a fact.
and we built our own heritage over here. We built our
Yes.
own
And
culture
what
over here.
heritage is
Accept
that?
it, man.
And
Just
what
accept it.
heritage is
Stop
that?
trying to make us be continental Africans when we haven't stepped foot on the continent of Africa for hundreds of years. Most of
That's
us.
true.
I know
What
Danfo goes
heritage?
Hip
back
hop
and he
is your
spends time
culture.
over there.
Hip hop
What
is your
heritage?
culture.
What heritage are you
Bro,
saying now? Because
that's
we
asking
know.
a stupid ass question. Of course, hip hop is a part of Black American culture,
No,
just
I
like
want to do
jazz
hip
is,
hop
But the
just
is
like
roots of those
R&B is,
things are
just like all the
African,
other
brother.
music genres that we
Most of
created
the
here.
roots of black
Stop it.
culture is African.
I gotta read these super chats. Let's see here. Babaliko, thank you for $5 holla. The white man has always let African Caribbean people live and come here. Why? Because it brings them money. FBA Line, thank you for $1.99 holla. Diney, stop allowing them to cut the brother off. Let me bring up Sam Ellis. Go ahead, Sam.
What's up, Donis?
Peace. You muted yourself. Unmute yourself. Oh, you froze. Oh, there you go. Unmute yourself. Go ahead, Sam. Sam, you gotta unmute yourself. Sam. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I got a question for Mr. Trini.
Go ahead.
His name is Baba Ligo, man.
Oh, yeah, well, no disrespect. When you call your children Yankee, how do they respond to it?
They laugh, they smile.
Okay, now how do they respond? How do you think they respond when other Trinity or other Caribbean people call it Yankee? How you think they respond to it?
I don't know. They never really told me anything about it.
Have you ever asked?
No.
Why is that?
I don't know. Let me ask him right now. Elijah. When they call you Yankee, do you feel any way about it? No. You don't feel no way, right? No. Because you say you're a Yankee. It doesn't matter to you. No. You say it doesn't matter.
Does he consider himself a Yankee?
Yeah, he considers himself born here. He considers himself American.
No,
are you a Trini also, brother?
No. I'm half and half. My dad is Jamaican. My mom is Black American.
Okay.
Well, I'm with you. My daddy's American. My mom is Trinidadian. So I understand. I see where you're coming from. Because
no, I'm just saying. I've been called Yankee so much that to the point it don't matter. But did I like it? No. Once I figured out really what it means, did I like it? No. But
what does it mean? What does it mean?
Yankee mean American.
So right? that's an insult.
You know it's an insult as well as I do.
No, that's not.
I'm not Jamaican. Man. I'm African, so I don't know if it's an insult to you.
That's
guys.
not an insult. You know.
That's an insult, and you know it because look, this is what I will ask you. If I'm a Yankee, right? Are you a Confederate? Because there's only one group of people that say Yankee, or that's historically known for saying Yankee. So are you a Confederate?
We thinking it. You're thinking in it too hard, man. No, I'm not Confederate, but you're thinking in it too hard. You know, I grew up in Trinity, right? But you know, when I go there, you know, they call me Yankee too down there. Yankee boy. I don't feel no way.
Of course, I say I've been called Yankee to the point it means nothing. However, yeah. I do know what it means. I do know when they say Yankee.
What's the connotation? Tell us the connotation.
Let's ask anybody when they say Yankee, what do they mean by it?
They don't understand American history, so of course they will not see it as an insult. And that's
no, we know the Yankee were the North. The Union was called the Yankee and the Confederate in the South, or the Dixie.
Everything that we tell them, they just dismiss it and they're disrespectful.
No, being a Yankee is good. The Yankee were the good guys that fought the Confederates and won. So being a Yankee is not negative.
Mr. Trinity, we know that that's not entirely true. However, it still is inconsequential. Only reason why I say it's inconsequential is because eventually you get past it. But it is hazing. Now, what I'm pointing out is the fact that it's hazing, right? Okay. I hear a lot of African and Caribbean people. They get hung up on the African booty scratcher, but when you got ones and ones like me, like myself, who grew up in Black America, we get over the Yankee thing. But why is it that the continental or Caribbean people can't get over the African booty scratcher? Because all of us was called that at one point in time. So how is it that certain ones and ones cannot get over being called the African booty scratcher, but ones and ones tend to get over being called a Yankee? Or y'all for the Zoes?
What's the connotation? What's the connotation of being called a Yankee?
Shout out to City for the $20. Appreciate you.
A Yankee is equivalent somewhat to being called a Nakata. It's somewhat
a Yankee means you lost your Caribbean identity. Is that what it means?
No, that's not true.
No. It just basically calling you American, saying you're American, but it's a slight. However, you're supposed to get over it. You're supposed to get past it. You is. Now, what I'm saying is, how is it that certain people can get over certain slights, but certain people cannot get over certain cracks, like roasting? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking. Because they almost the same.
No, I never see Yankee as a roast. I see it as a good thing. When they used to call me that in the Caribbean, I used to smile. I feel happy. I don't feel no way bad. I don't know. I don't feel no way. That's why I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, no, I understand what you're saying. Now listen, when we in the States and we got Jescoms or been here call us Yankees, what is that a slight or is that endearment? Because when I'm on the rock, I don't get called Yankee at all, none whatsoever. But when I'm here, for people who come here, I get called a Yankee by them, right? And I know they get called Yankee themselves when they go back and they twang and all that. I get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is when you see one group getting over being called a certain name, and you see one group seem like they can't never get past a certain name. That's what I'm saying. Like how do you weigh that? How do you level that? I
Yeah,
just your view,
I
your
think
point of view. Your point of view is what I'm asking.
I think when you say African Buddhist culture, I think you're throwing I think that's like you try throwing an insult. But I think when you say Yankee, you just calling people for like what it is. Just say like they're American. Like that what the Caribbean say, they just call you like you American. So I think that's two different things. I don't think they're insulting you. I think the booty scratcher one is like they're trying to insult you. But just saying you Yankee, they're not insulting you. They're just saying you
No,
come to America.
I'll say this, right?
The Yankee wasn't. No, the Yankee is a slight. Like I said, I got called the Yankee enough to the point it don't mean
So
nothing no more.
being called an American is a slight to you, brother? Because you're half American. Your mother's American, like you said, or your daddy is American or something like that, right?
No, I'm from black. I'm black. I'm from Black America. I'm all that, right?
Right, but you're American. You're Black American. That's not a slight to you.
Hold on. That when I'm part Jamaican and then you get people from that community. I'm talking about the Caribbean. When I say that, I'm speaking primarily the Caribbean. When they call you a Yankee, it's a slight. Like it's not like so much of a slight to where you ready to fight over it, but you get it. Oh, you calling me a name.
But what
You
it
get what I'm
meaning?
saying?
I mean, it's not an insult. It's almost like when you go to
For
East
you, you're
Africa, they call you
literally a Yankee
Mozungu.
because half of your parentage, half of your lineage is American.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you call me a Yankee, right? Why? Okay, Yankee means American. Okay, well, why don't American mean American and Yankee mean something different? You see what I'm saying?
No, but
You see what I'm
so,
asking?
I mean, I don't understand what you're talking about. If you go to East Africa, they will call you Mozungu. Whether you're
Right.
African American or as long as you have the spirit, they call you Mozungu.
Ofaringi too.
Yeah,
Like
but that doesn't mean anything.
In Liberia, we have the Decembries, right? Some people might consider that to be derogatory, but it's really not because it just means people who only go to Liberia during the December season to spend the season there. But most of the Liberians who are calling them Decembries will probably want to be in their position because it's a privilege to be able to vacation in Liberia in December.
But what I'm saying is certain things get said, right? And certain people get offended, but they don't get hung up on it, or they be like, "Ah, man, whatever." They don't get hung up on it. That's what I'm saying. But how is it that if they making a little, they call you a little name in one way, but when they call you a name another way, it's accepted.
But maybe most of them even want to be like you. They wish
Right, they want to be Yankee. They want to be in the United States and be Americanized.
So it's not.
No, I know that's what I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like you get over it because you eventually you figure out what they mean by it, but at the same time you still know that you kind of that you hating a little bit.
Like in Liberia, right? Like M gets mad when I use the word Kwi. The Kwi man in plain English it means someone who is civilized or someone who is not doing the same thing as the native people. But everybody wants to be Kwi. Everybody wants to be civilized and and proper and doing things the Western way. So it can be seen as derogatory because if you're in a village setting and somebody says stop being Kwi, it means stop acting like you don't eat the same food we eat or you don't do the things we do. You don't work, So
and sometimes they even call some Liberians will call themselves Congo, right? But again,
let me read
considered
this
to
super
be-
chat. Let me read this super chat. FBA online, thank you for $1 holla. Yankee is like calling someone Muzungo. Man sake, go ahead, man sake. Unmute yourself.
Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me respond to peace and love to the chat. Let me respond to the brother that's talking about the word Yankee. Listen, I'm African. When I went to Jamaica back in 2017, guess what they called me? They called me Yankee.
Yankee, yeah.
I'm African.
Right.
So you taking the term Yankee, it's anybody that's American, they refer anyone as a Yankee. Even gringos, they call them Yankee.
Exactly.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not entirely true.
Listen, hold on. Let me finish. And guess what? I didn't go over there by myself. I was there with the other American tourists. They referred everybody in that group as Yankees. They said, yo, look at them Yankees over there. That's what they said. So you taking the word Yankee, even though I just told you that I was called a Yankee, and the dude who's a gringo was called a Yankee, another person, the Asian person, is called a Yankee. It's not a derogatory term. They're just saying that person from America.
Yep.
So
Yep.
So if everyone's
No,
called a
no,
Yankee,
no,
why you
you
taking?
said what
Hold
you
on, hold
said,
on, hold
right? No,
on.
that's cool. No, hold on. You said what you said, right? And you said they call everybody Yankee. Now we all know that Jamaican people, we all know that they don't call white people Yankee.
Yeah, they do.
This is
Listen,
listen, bro. I grew up
dude,
in that.
I went to Jamaica with a group of
You're
people, and
not in
even they were called Yankee.
it. I'm in it. You ain't in it.
So I'm not in it.
Do the
Guess
Trini
what?
call white people
Guess
Yankee
what?
too?
But guess what? But guess what? I
Yes,
live
we
in an
do.
area.
Yes, we
Guess what?
do.
Guess what? I live in an area where all Jamaicans, and it's very
Why do
popular
you
by
guys
people from
call
the
us Yankees
Caribbean.
in
And
Mzungu but want us to be African?
but like I
Bro,
was saying,
listen to what I'm saying. You think I'm hung up on the Yankee word. I'm not hung up on the
yeah,
Yankee word at
you are
all.
hung up on the Yankee word because you keep saying that. Why do they refer to you guys as Yankees? And I just dismantled your argument that I said that they called everyone Yankee. Listen, they even called me Yankee, and I'm African. They called me
Missed my
Yankee.
point. Hear me? I think you missed my point. I said, did you hear me when I asked Mr. Trini? I said, how did your son respond to it? And he said, I don't know. Let me ask him. He did. And his son said, he don't feel no way. I also said, listen, I don't.
Exactly.
Hold on. I said, I told him, I don't feel no way neither. I said, I've been calling so much that it don't mean nothing to me. I said,
And you
however,
just said, I listened to you. You just said that they only refer to black people as Yankees. And then when Barbalico told you no, they refer to Americans, you said, all right, it might be true, but why do they still call us Yankees?
I said, what might be true?
You said that okay, they might refer to Americans as Yankees, but why do they call you Yankee? That's what you said.
My wife is Jamaican. She said they call them Yankees. She called white people
Thank
Yankees.
you.
She's
Even a
Jamaican.
Jamaican, even a Jamaican who's born in America that goes to Jamaica, even himself is called a Yankee.
Yes, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, hold on. I
That's
agree with
like a black person calling any Asian person he see a Chinaman. You know.
Hold on. I don't want
Thank you.
the other brothers. I agree with that.
So if
When
you
you say
agree with that, so what's the problem?
hold on, you saying you dismantled my argument. That's why I said you missed my point. What I said is how is it that when some people get over a certain crack, but certain people don't get over a certain crack? That's what I said. I think you missed my point.
How am I missing my point if you're the one that said that the word Yankee was a derogatory term?
And that's what I want to know. What's the insult that's
That's what I'm saying.
that's that's being said when you being called a Yankee? Means like you act like a white
And then guess
person.
what? And then guess what? Let me tell you another thing too. Guess what? When I went to Kenya, when they heard of my American accent, they didn't know I was African. Guess what they called me? They called me Mzungu.
Right. So what's the negative connotation there that you act white or you're from you came from America, so you don't do things the way we do it. You don't eat the foods we eat. You speak in a different way. You don't have an accent. What's the connotation? And what's negative about it?
It's basically saying like it depends on how it gets said towards you, basically. And like I said again, I'm gonna say it again to the new brother that just came in, bro. I'm not hung up on the word, bro. All I was pointing out is certain people get over certain cracks and certain people don't get over certain cracks. That's what I was highlighting. When the brother, when the brother, Mr.
The
Trinity,
thing that with my such experience in Kenya, anybody who hear me, you know I'm a Liberian. I don't have no American accent, right? But when I go to Kenya, because for the fact that, I still carry African passport, but they know that I live in the US, they will still call me Mozongo. But the fact that I live here and I don't even have the American accent, if I speak to anybody, Liberian would tell you, say, yeah, this guy is Liberian. And I don't want to change that tone, in fact, right? Because it helped me when I go to Africa. But certain part of Africa, they will still think that I'm Mozungu, but I'm not. But for the fact that I live here, right? So I mean, it's nothing. It had no meaning. It's just like, to me, it's more of like a privilege, right? Especially if you have some money in your pockets.
Let
It's
me
a
wait.
privilege.
Hold on.
People respect you.
Let me ask the guy, City.
That's ignorance.
When Black
Pure
Americans
ignorance.
when Black people say the N word, right? How do you feel? Because you have a problem with the Yankee. Now, when they say the N word towards you, how do you feel? This is to my brother that half Jamaican.
Right.
Listen, I don't have no problem with the N word, right? And I also told you that I don't got no problem with the Yank word. I said, but I know how it gets used. That's what I was highlighting. I know how it gets used. It don't hurt me. It don't bother me. I said, I have been, like, the way I learned of it is from being called it, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is, I know that certain people get over it, like, and certain people don't get over it. I do know when people, let's just say, just come, right? Like somebody who's from the Rock, they come to America, and then when they do go back, they tell them, hey, listen, you different, you not one of us. Like, I know it's all tongue in cheek. I know it's play. I get that. I know that. Like I said to the other brother, I'm talking about the new brother who just came in. Listen, I'm over the word. I'm saying is certain people get cracked on and they're all right with it, and certain people get cracked on and they're not all right with it. That's the point I was drawing, the conclusion to.
Okay, I understand your point, Join. I think the people that get offended of it don't understand. I think a lot of Americans think we are calling them a name, but we're not calling them any name or anything like that. That's just a term that they use to say you're American.
Everybody, yeah.
And also you make it wrong comparison. You make it comparison to Buddhist culture, which is completely different.
That's all that means. But
That's an insult, right?
Yeah.
Calling someone Buddhist culture, but Africans don't even complain about it.
Exactly.
Right. You're making a wrong comparison.
So what you said, okay, now you said Buddha scratcher, right? Okay, everybody got called that. Everybody. It didn't matter where you came from. That was one of the go-to cracks. So,
But
so
they
what I'm saying,
identify with Africans. They mean they target African with that name. I don't hear African even complain about it. But the reason why, because FBA is coming with all the negativity. That's why African coming with this. But they don't complain.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I got a question, right?
Hold on.
If your booty itch, what do you do?
Hold on, I got a question. Hold on, I got a question. Hold on. I got a question. I got a question for Elvis. And I got a question for Elvis. Elvis, I got a question for you, and I got a question for City, right? Yep. In your dialect, because this is what I always heard. They always say this, right? They said, "Oh, Africans refer to Black Americans as a kata." Does a kata exist in your dialect?
Nope. We use the word "kui" for people who are they're foreigners in their ways. You know, like we say "kui" for civilized people who don't do the things that we Africans do.
And then City, what about you?
Well, I mean, if it depends on the part of Africa, the Mandingo, the part of Africa. But when you Liberian, they call Kui, right?
But the word akata itself, does it exist in your dialect?
No, we don't have it. They call them cousin. Cousin means it's a French word. Cousin, my cousin. They got all African Americans are cousins, right? Because when they came here, they could see the similarity in them. They could identify themselves with them. So if you speak to any French, whether from Senegal or from Guinea, from Africa, they all call Black American mon cousin, right? But sometimes you find French language and Mandingo language. It depends where you came from. But if you are born Liberia as a Mandingo, you find some English word in Mandingo language. But then in Liberia, call them the queen, right? It's almost like it's almost an upgrade, right? Call someone a civilized person. But it's not a bad word. We don't have a kata. Even Nigerians sometimes they call them with a kata, especially when they were born in America. But we don't have that in our dialect. We don't have that. No.
Because I was on a panel a couple of days ago on TikTok, and the lady said that she heard someone from Senegal and somebody from Somalia using the word akata, and I'm like, that's bullcrap.
That's not true.
Somalis will call you a Jair in a heartbeat. They'll call you a Jair, like a blackhead or a slave or something real derogatory to that point. But the thing about
Somalians, man, but they mostly identify with Arabs and stuff too, whatever. So I'm just like, they call everyone that, even us. They don't even identify us as the same. And most of them and stuff too, you know.
This is a great show Dennis have, because a lot of people used to take things out of context when people call them things, and they didn't understand what it means, and they probably was mad at a certain group of people. So this is good. So this is good that people are on the panel explaining so people can understand it's nothing derogatory for anybody. It's just how we people call it when they go to the Caribbean or Africa or whatever. That's just how it is.
Now it's not like South Africa. They got the word quadi. That shit's fucking. That shit's like a slur.
What does it mean?
It means foreigner, but it's in a derogatory one. That they refer to anyone that's not South African. Quade.
I've heard that being used by some guy on YouTube, but
That
that's what
one. That one's
I
a
mean.
slur.
It can't just be that. It got to be like even the word, Donis, I'm using it in context. What does the word nigger means? What is the real negative connotation behind that word?
It sounds to me like all these groups delineated before us. They've been delineating.
I'd like somebody to answer that question for me because I've lived here over 25 years. I don't really know the negative connotation of that word. Does it mean uncivilized? What does it really mean? Does anybody know the negative connotation beyond the N word?
Yeah, but they will all be calling each other in war, and they don't want anybody else to call them that name. That's the part I don't understand too either.
No, I'm forget what black people call themselves. I'm saying when the white men use that word, what is the real negative connotation that is meant to imply
Right,
insult?
exactly. That's a
You
good question.
gotta ask the white man that, Elvis, because we.
But we get offended by it. People cry. People getting what are they calling you really when they use that word?
Right.
Dinus, you're a Black American. You on the show, Dinus. What does it mean?
To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Niger, or that word comes from Niger, kind of like Nigeria, and it just means black.
Are you sure about that, Dinus? Because black people get hurt by it when a white person calls them that word.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So the word that N word. So when they named Nigeria, okay, that meant N word area. But the word Niger is like Negro. I don't know, and it's just a negative connotation. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know.
No, I heard the Hebrew say the same thing. Donis is saying. They say it's in the Bible. It means
Negus means like king or something like that, with the Ethiopians.
Yeah, it just means black. That's what he said.
Even me, right? And again, remember, I'm not American. I'm African. But I feel a sharp sense of hurt when a white person say that to a black person, or even if it's directed to me. I'll be really hurt by it. But then again, I don't know where that hurt is coming from. I mean, I knew white racists used it against black people, but what's the origin of the word itself? What's the real insult in that word? Because we know Negro means black, in Spanish, or negro, and it's just a color, right? They call black things, negro. It's not literally means, some people say it means a black slave, or it means a dirty black person, like some people are saying in the comments. I don't know what it really means.
But that is my question is, if their wife and their girlfriend can call the N word, because I always see that in New York, right? Especially kids from the Bronx or most of these Puerto Rican, they will see them calling their boyfriend N word over and over and over and over and over.
No, Shitty, just to be fair, New York is a whole different. I've seen Spanish people, white people, I've seen black people calling each other the N-word all up in New York. So just
they're doing that everywhere now. So it's
the N-word came with violence, came with murder.
Right. So I guess by that logic,
I gotta read these super chats. John Dola, thank you for $9. Holla, drop the link. Spellcaster 8046, thank you for $2 Canadian dollars. Previous new name is Elegbede. The black butterflies, thank you for all the sparkles. I still don't know what to do with these sparkles. I'm gonna do something with them though. These jewels, I'm still gonna do something with them. Miss Sandman 8996, thank you for $9. Holla, life is too short to be hung up on silly name calling. This ain't a high school popularity contest. Yankee is like calling someone Mizungu. Okay.
By your logic, Dinus.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you need to get rid of the N-word tariff then, because the word I think has lost its meaning. Because if everybody's saying it, what's the
No, it definitely has a negative connotation to it. So yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I know that's what I'm saying. But
it makes the show look so ghetto, and then you go to.
No, I get it. I don't want to say it like that, but my point is, how can a word hurt us? Because it does hurt me. If a white person called me an N-word tomorrow when I walk outside, I'll be hurt. I'll be ready to fight. But again, where is it coming from? Where is that hurt coming from? Why am I hurt by the word? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think I think it's the history behind it. I think it's mostly knowing white people used to lynch us saying that word and beat us saying that word. So I think it's the history behind it. I think that's all what it is. The history behind it. And they know a lot of white people, they know the history behind it. So that's what I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was just saying in New York, man. I mean, I've seen Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, all
Oh, the
using
Puerto
that
Rican,
term.
they are worse. If you see Puerto Rican Kenny from the Bronx passing y'all, when you see them, you know they're from the Bronx. They will use
Yeah,
them go over and over and over and over.
yeah. I
Like,
mean that
what?
I mean the way. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but the way that they use in New York is like saying "bro." Like they just say like every like 2 seconds, yo, yo,
No, but
and
I had a problem with it in Brooklyn one time because these black Americans was calling this white boy the N-word, and he was calling, and
yeah.
I told the white boy, yo, don't say that around me. I told him, yo, don't, and he was like, so what? My boys them say, I said, if you say that around me, I'm gonna smack you. I don't care what those other black Americans call it. I'm gonna
Is it
smack you. Don't say
is
that
it
around
worth
me.
is it worth
So,
getting an assault charge because somebody called your name that you can't
right.
even
So
you can't even pinpoint the
yeah.
root
So
of
that
it?
was crazy to hear those guys calling him that, and he was saying back like it's nothing. And I was like, yo, what is wrong with these guys, man?
Because I think the word is really losing its meaning and its sting. It's actually losing it, right? I think for most people, maybe.
Right. It's just
And
crazy.
that should be a positive thing because if the white people can't use that word to hurt you anymore, what else do they have to call you?
But I heard Jay-Z say that. The rapper said that he take the power out of the word by saying it. That's what
Right.
Jay-Z said. So I don't know. I don't know.
Now, I mean, everybody use it now, especially white people in New York. They all use it. It's like common thing for them, you know. It's just everybody's saying the world. So I don't know,
Hey,
but
what's going on, guys? Salute Dinus and salute to the panel.
Yeah, go ahead, John Zola.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the conversation. I think any of those words that you guys mentioned, like Yankee, Mzungu, all those words. I mean, I think depending on the context, it could be used as a derogatory. Like in it itself, it's not really like a bad thing, but depending on the context. Like for example, in South Africa, they have a word that the Dula types, right? The
Quade, quade.
anti-African types, they call them kwede kwede. The word means like a foreigner, basically like a black foreigner. But in South Africa, that word is seen as a derogatory word. So I think Yankee, Mzungu, like me personally, like if I go to Africa and someone call me a Mzungu, I don't know how as a black American, I don't know how I'm gonna take it. Like I'm like, what? You calling me a white man? Obviously, I know what they mean by it because culturally they probably see me as a foreigner or a white person, right?
Exactly.
Culturally, the way how I dress and stuff, but because of our experience here in America, I might be like, I might take it as an insult. Don't call me a white man, I'm black,
but
But yeah, I just wanted to add
it's
that
not
part.
even mean white though. It's not even mean white. I think it has a different level to it. It's more of the
Like a
prestigious
foreigner,
call.
like a foreigner.
No, it's a prestigious name of calling someone above you. I don't know the meaning
Yeah,
exactly, but when you
I
ask
don't
people
think,
who
I don't know if that's I
Swahili,
don't know if that's the case, bro. I don't know. Like,
Somebody is saying quarter means, I think it's a South African. It means somebody you can't hear in the sense that you can't understand their language. I think that's what they're saying. So he's a
basically like a
foreigner because he
foreigner.
doesn't
Basically
speak.
like a foreigner.
Yeah, he doesn't speak the language of the people in the country.
Right.
So
They
it's not
say
even that
they say
derogatory to say
Wazani,
that.
Sawubona, Wazani, quade, wena.
It was good, Omar.
Hey John, what's up, bro? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I'm chilling, man, chilling.
Yeah, but I don't think we should get hung up on it. I mean, for me personally,
Exactly.
like words is not gonna affect me, but personally. But like, for example, I used to attend a stream back in the days where there were Somalis on the stream, right? And they would use the word jared, right? Jared is supposed to be a derogatory word, but the etymology of that word just basically means a person with hard hair or nappy hair. And I have nappy hair, so shit. Like to me, it's not derogatory, but to someone, maybe to a black person that lives in the UK or a black person that lives in Somalia, they might take it as a derogatory word.
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah,
nappy. White
but
man
Ja
make
though,
that up.
man.
It's
But
not
also
nappy. Yo,
Somalians, they identify as being Arab and stuff to whatever. So I don't even
Not all of them. Not all of them identify as being Arab. But they see that we're different people. Like just because we have black skin, that don't make us all the same. Like a
Somalis have
Somalian,
straighter, curlier hair. They're here.
right? A
That's
Somalian
what
might,
sensitive.
even though I had a Somalian best friend in middle school. This dude was darker than most black people. He was darker than most Haitian, most black people that was in my school. But like again, these Somalis, many of them see themselves as different from like Bantoid type African. You get what I'm saying? Sub-Saharan type African, which is not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Like
Because they are. They're phenotypically different than us.
Exactly.
You
It's
know,
not a
they
bad
have
thing.
straighter nose. They have, curlier, straighter hair. They are different in some phenotypical way.
So that's what I'm saying. The point of even the word Jadir, to me, it doesn't affect me. I'm like, I embrace it. But to a black person that lives like an African that lives in the UK, because of their historical experience with Somalis and the word Jadir, they might take it as a bad insult or derogatory word. You understand what I'm saying?
Anyway, man, Bob, this is Bob. I'm traveling right now. I'm all over the U.S. right now. I'm just come to Mississippi, Louisiana. I got to go visit the orange field in Mississippi where they bury all those black. So I'm visiting. I'm down. I'm in Alabama. I'm visiting.
Is this the Trinity brother speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, Babaliko.
Oh, salute, brother. You said you was half Trinidadian and half African American.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Nice.
Yeah, grew up in Trinidad.
I have some family. Like one of my cousins, her husband is Trinidadian, and she moved. He got deported, so she moved to Trinidad with him in a place called Livingston. You know what Livingston is, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. But my cousins that were born under her, they all were born there. So they're Trinidad. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we guys, a lot of us are talking on the internet. It doesn't reflect the reality on the ground. People are mixing. People are talking, having.
I don't have no problem with nobody. If FBAs want to be separate from Africans, and I don't have no problem with it. All I'm just saying is just when you do that, you feeding into something that I think people is getting paid for. That's what I think. I think these FBA things. I think somebody's getting paid to store up a division. Because if you're FBA, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. But don't come now, because I think a lot of them is lying when they say, "Oh, the African told me I wasn't African." Like I don't believe that. Like where all of them come up with the same thing. Like I don't believe they got African that told you not African. You got Ghana in Africa. You got so much Africans in
Hey, brother. Even this FBA thing, because I'm an African American, bro. The first
Everybody
time I
telling
ever
the
heard
same
of
lie.
FBA,
Everybody telling the same
the
lie.
first time I ever heard of FBA was through an African online. I was like, what is the FBA? I didn't know what that shit was.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But if everybody want to be FBA and be all these different things, and as this was saying earlier on, if you're 75% Negro and you're 25% white or whatever, what that makes you? That makes you white now? Like it's silly. So
I just think that everyone should just respect everyone's boundaries. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna have some people that want to unite. You're gonna have some African Americans, some Caribbeans that might want to unite.
But they don't
some
respect the
Africans that want to
boundaries.
unite, and then you might have some that don't really. They're more internalized. They like to be amongst their own tribe, their own people, their own culture.
I
You just respect everyone's boundaries.
It's about the view. When the view go down, it will go.
Hey, guy, I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, everything sounds good in theory. Hey, somebody got a lot of feedback. I don't know if they're moving around.
Yeah. I think it was John Zola, but we're good now. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Words do have meanings, but how they're used determines whether it's derogatory or not. So it was a lot of gaslighting with these Yankees and all of this stuff. Like people know when they say a word, how they're using it. Like the B word that people call women is just a female dog, technically, right? But we know how it's used. How it's used determines whether or not it's derogatory. And it's just a lot of gaslighting, asking for definitions and what's the connotation. You know when you're saying a word to a person, how you're using it. Even the N-word. The N-word can mean my partner to you downright low down dirty scum. Even Black Americans know how it's being used and when it's being used, whether it's in camaraderie or it's used as an insult amongst each other. So like I said, y'all love playing smart and playing dumb at the same time on these panels. Other thing is, it's amazing how suddenly, 2026, the delineation started.
from how I followed it about 8 years ago when it really picked up steam. And then suddenly it's paid. Suddenly it's CIA. Suddenly when Black Americans started delineating, is everything we getting paid, is everything under the sun. But Africans and Caribbeans been delineating from the time they stepped on this in this country. They've been delineating from us. Right. And I haven't heard any accusations my whole life. Hey, yeah, you're lying. You just flat out lying. You're flat out lying. You're flat out lying, dude. Like you're lying, and we know it.
That's not true.
We know it. We know it. So stop it.
How
you're
did
lying.
you separate from
So
you guys?
hold on. So Jamaicans, the Caribbean Day Parade. Lord have mercy, Caribbeans. I say it all the time. Caribbean scholarships. John, but was it Botham John? He got killed. Black Americans rallied around him. His parents or his wife or whoever that was, they created a Caribbean scholarship for him. Right. So, dude, like you're lying. I'm not entertaining the lies, man. You're lying. You know, we know. Yeah, we could. I'm not entertaining the lies. You're flat out lying. Caribbean's been letting us know that they're not us for decades. It's not. We've heard I'm Jamaican. I'm not black. It's a whole screenshot, a million screenshots of it online.
Jamaican is black. I don't know what you're saying. Jamaican is black.
Once again, you're playing dumb because you know that in the United States of America,
you guys are playing games.
Once again,
Trinidadians is black. So
dude, this call has been going on for 2 minutes. I've been talking for 2 minutes, and this call has been going on for 2 minutes, 50 seconds, and 20 seconds. And here you go, interrupting me. Hey, you can't even keep your mouth shut for 2 seconds. You can't even listen for 2 seconds. You're sitting on here lying and gaslighting, and when I call you out, you're lying more. And you everybody on this call knows in America, in the United States of America, when you say black, it primarily means Black American. And we know this because Caribbeans and Africans have been saying for decades, I'm not black, I'm such and such. I'm not black, I'm Caribbean. Don't play dumb like y'all ain't been saying it. Y'all gaslight.
That's a lot. I never heard Caribbean calling
y'all lie. Boy, y'all ain't no different from KKK members. Y'all ain't no different from the right wing. Y'all lie just as much as y'all do. Y'all take no responsibility. Yeah. I'm lying. I made it up. So everybody telling the same lie, huh? People from Georgia to California to Tennessee to Chicago telling the same lie. People up in New York, from New York to DC telling the same lie. No. Y'all listen, because it was my turn to talk. No, y'all listen. It was my turn to talk. It was my turn to talk. It was my turn to talk. I'm not gonna listen to lies.
Let Quincy finish. Quincy, you got a minute.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to lies. I'm not gonna listen to lies. Like y'all, just like white folks, y'all do this stuff for decades, and then when Black Americans respond, y'all gaslight. You sit here and flat out lie like y'all ain't been doing it. Y'all act like everybody coincidentally telling the same exact lie of what they've been experiencing with Caribbeans and Africans. Everybody telling the same lie. Everybody from Georgia to California to Texas to Chicago to New York to DC to damn West Virginia to South Carolina to Florida. Everybody telling the same lie. Everybody telling the same lie on y'all. Like, come on, man, stop it. Yo, you can't be smart and be dumb at the same time. That's all I want to say. I'm gonna get off because y'all go ahead and tell more lies, just like white folks. Just like white folks. Oh, if y'all gonna keep lying,
no, I want to respond. I want to respond to him because
we gotta close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Oh, I gotta read these super hard. I think got some more super chats. Yes, everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe to Next Life Family. Down in Search for Real Peace.
Yo, he conflating. He don't know between the